There we go.
This year has marked a turning point in Star Citizen's history. We have finally moved past the question of whether we can build an architecture to deliver a universe with incredible detail at massive scale, seamlessly, and where thousands of people can all play together. Server meshing has been working pretty much flawlessly at scale for the past 9 months. It has brought a more populated and active verse with up to 700 players online and in the same space at once. It's greatly increased server performance and delivered a much more responsive player experience. I couldn't be prouder of the team. They delivered something no other online game does presently.
It's a presentation.
There may be other games out there that claim large player
panda.
counts, or even the ability to mesh, but none do it at our detail, scale, and seamlessness. Of course, there will be continued improvements to server meshing and to Star Engine, but having moved past this last big technological hurdle has allowed us to finally focus on quality of life and stability improvements, something that has long been overdue. We're about to deliver our 9th patch in 10 months, with content that has brought Star Citizen storytelling into new and exciting directions. We pushed more than 24 features and more than 2,000 bug fixes. And while there is still a long way to go, the game has gotten more stable, performant, and fun as a result. We see this in player metrics. More of you play every day. The daily average users is up 45% from last year, and your play time is up 15%. So more people venture out into the verse and stay there longer than ever before. And through all that, we've told the dual stories of the Frontier Fighters Assault on Pyro and the moral compromises being made to combat the regen crisis. Now, as those stories come to a rest for the time being, it's time to look forward to the next chapter of Star Citizen, where the instability in Pyro and the callous actions of some pave the way to new adventures, new locations, and new threats. Last year, we announced our next Star System would be Nyx, home to the People's Alliance of Levski and bordering the Vandal threat. Today, we're proud to share that your adventures in Nyx begin not next year, but next month. When Star Citizen's third system comes online in Alpha 4.4. 2 new systems in 1 year. That's only possible because of the tireless work of our development teams, server meshing accelerating what's possible, the support teams behind the scenes, and most importantly, all of you. Now, I do miss that we're not all together under one roof this year. But in many ways, we're more connected than ever. Across the globe, many of you are gathering at watch parties, 9 of them with our developers in attendance, and countless others springing up in communities everywhere, and all happening simultaneously today. So even if we're separated by oceans and continents, we're bound together by the same passion for space, for discovery, and for this incredible universe we're building together. Whether you're at home or alongside your crew at a watch party, grab a drink, sit back, and let us take you inside our up-and-coming plans.
We're at a watch party. Best place to be to watch it, Chris. Dude, they made him look like super god, like a tech god with that background. Oh man, it better be updated. It better have like new smell to it. Oh man. I hope there's a lot redone. I hope it's gonna look fantastic, and it's gonna be so good to see Levski again. Oh, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it. Boom, another system. Now we got 3 systems. There you go. 4, 5, 6 systems coming online soon. Like I'm telling you, it's just gonna like domino effect. People didn't get it. People didn't get it.
With the foundational technology now in place, the content development of the game is no longer restricted.
Good to see you, buddy.
Allowing us to forge ahead with building out our first 5 star systems. Nyx will see the much-loved Levski landing zone added back to the verse, while also bringing you one of its most iconic landmarks, the Glacium Belt. Here, you'll experience a new combined arms operation that will introduce new factions and new adventures for you to discover. With this edition of our 3rd star system, we're also going to do something that's at the heart of the entire Star Citizen experience.
Pretty good so far.
And that is to build it right in front of you. As we have done this year, with the addition of several major locations, such as the Hathor facility or the Lazarus complex, we will continue to unveil new Nyx content throughout the year. It's a slightly different approach to how we deliver Pyro.
Oh, sorry, I gotta write my notes down. New Nyx
hands sooner, and shows our intent as we continue our march towards 1.0. I'm so incredibly proud of the work our teams have done, and are continuing to do, and we're excited to have you on this next step of our journey. And as with any journey in Star Citizen, that begins with a little story.
This is good. They're doing a good job so far. They're sucking me in, man. They're sucking me in on this. I mean, the fact that we're getting Nyx back is probably going to be updated and look fantastic.
In 2025, we introduced 2 major storylines spanning multiple patches, creating a living backbone for adventure across the universe. The first was Pyro Must Burn. It connected Stanton to Pyro and introduced the Frontier Fighters, who are relentless, brutal, and determined to wipe out any threats that cross them. And with this month's release, you'll now take part in the conclusion to that storyline. The second was Science Run Amok, with the Regen Crisis throwing the Empire into chaos, and you all jumping in to help the various corporations respond. Through that journey, we pulled back the curtain on ASD and its shady practices, uncovering long-forgotten Onyx facilities, and met new characters like Dr. Logan Yorit and Detective Arkham Mella of the Hokro Agency. And just like the Pyro Must Burn storyline carried us into a new system, Science Run Amok is now setting the stage for Nyx, the next step in the larger story we're telling on the road to 1.0. As this new chapter of Star Citizen begins, let's hear from just a few of the team members working to bring this next era of our universe to life.
This is professional. They're doing a good job. Bring us more. Wow us. Wow us.
When the Nyx system was first discovered,
here we go.
The United Empire of Earth, the UAE,
this is
came out
so cool
and did
coming back to Nyx.
And kind
Who's
of found
excited
out
about
that
Nyx coming back and being all updated and having new missions?
Terraform, the resources were too tough
I'm so
to get,
very excited
so they
about
opened
this.
it up.
It's going to look
and one
fantastic.
company saw opportunity
Another
where they
system to
didn't
explore.
QV planet services. And so they expanded into the system and tried to mine as much as they could, making a very slim margin by the sheer quantity of resources they were pulling out.
Right.
The system itself sort of ran its course from sort of a large corporate interest perspective, and then was mostly left abandoned.
Now this ended up being the ideal situation for the People's Alliance, who were a group of revolutionaries who were trying to overthrow the dictatorship of the Messer regime that was going on in the Empire.
Yes, I love the lore of Nyx. I've always loved it.
So they went to the Nyx system and established what became known as Levski.
It's like the
they
workers
wanted to make
united.
it everything that the UEE wasn't at this time.
Right, the union against the UEE. It's like a...
They set up what they saw as their ideal society, where everyone's voices would be heard, where everyone would be equal. But they've fallen onto hard times. So Nyx today is kind of at an interesting point in its history. Now that the UEE has kind of transformed itself into a democratic society, what is their role? What are the People's Alliance rebelling against?
More open to piracy,
and
still a little bit lawful.
They still see the Empire as being inherently unfair. They see their role as still trying to create a free and fair society. But on the other hand, they have more problems than ever. And there's new threats lurking around every corner. And they have to ask, are they prepared to handle that? Or do they need to turn to the UEE for help?
Right. Oh man, so cool. They're caught between a rock and a hard place because they wanted their independence and they got it now, and they're kind of like doing their thing.
You approach it from kind of two angles in a weird way. What is this system bringing to the gallery? How does this new system plug into it, and what does it bring to the table from a sort of a flavor experience? We want to make sure that whatever it's bringing to the company is unique and has some flair to it.
So the Nyx system is a remote system where people want to go and live free outside of the pressure and influence of the UEE. It's a remote and rugged system with a lot of hostility coming from the ever-present threat of Vanduul.
It's kind of like a frontier-esque thing. It's not lawless like Pyro, it's just kind of out there. Pyro's more like a Mad Max wasteland, and Nyx is more like Silverado or like Deadwood, right? It's kind of like a smaller scope.
The emptiness and the loneliness is the defining factor. You're still going to find gangs, you're still going to find hostile presences, but it's where people go if they want to live off the grid
The People's Alliance is the main peacekeeping force in Nyx.
They were unhappy with the direction that the Empire was going under the Messers. They got out. They said, we're just going to start from scratch, build our own society, but build it the way that we think it needs to be built.
They're not perfect. They're just people, but they're doing their best. They want to help keep Nyx safe and make it prosper.
They are trying to do the best that they can, but are faced with the realities of dealing with people, which is tricky.
The Pyrostar is quite a warm star.
Nice.
Stanton star is quite neutral. And the Nyx is a little bit cooler.
Okay.
The system has its star, and it has this dark, really, really dense gas sort of nebulous cloud. And it has points of light.
It's going to be more stark. The lighting's going to be like more of a white blue.
Those points of light in this gas cloud.
That's tight, man.
Really, really hazy.
I love this. The color of the star is wonderful.
Nyx is bordering Vandal space, it was important that we have a gap in the Nyx gas cloud where you could sort of just, in between the clouds, see a piece of the Vandal space. It feels so close that it's even like protruding some red light. The level designers are using it as an actual visual indicator of where to place more dangerous POIs. So if you point your ship in the direction of it, you should find, as we build it out, that you will be in more and more danger. And I think that's really cool.
That's a new white-blue star,
to give more
light rendering's
atmosphere,
awesome.
I was testing out adding some sort of space snowflakes, essentially. So when you look towards the sun, you can sort of see that sort of like sparkle. But then when you look away from the sun, you'll see the reflections and sort of like little glints of light. For the jump points in Nyx, we'll have 2 on this release. We'll have one from Pyro to Nyx and one from Stanton to Nyx. It should be going from Nyx to Castra, but we're essentially bypassing Castra temporarily.
Hey, we want to make sure you can get there any way you want.
Glacian Belt is a huge asteroid belt
for that sub, bro. I see you,
is
man.
in sort of the middle of the system.
Thanks, Fish, for those gift subs. If I didn't,
Glacian Belt is a combination of a bunch of technologies that we already had. The asteroid fields we use for planetary rings and the gas clouds. And it's combining them to make something completely new that we've just not seen before.
It's full of resources that are still left unharvested because it's kind of a tricky spot for mining. It's not
Thanks for sharing your time with us.
But that means that there's still a lot of opportunity for independent miners to go out there.
So the rocks in Nyx are a bit more sharp, like sorts of like icy look, rocky, cliff-like, very different from those in the Pyro and the Stanton.
One of the big differences too is all of that extra added movement that just adds a little bit of extra flair.
It's also a good hiding spot for people who are trying to elude capture, maybe set up ambushes, that type of stuff.
Always feel way more interesting flying in those spaces than
danger.
Just, empty void.
And as we build out the Glacian Belt over the next year, lots of places to put new content.
Delamar is a very large asteroid in the Glacian Belt that QV Planet Services had built a mining base on that got taken over by the People's Alliance and renamed Levski.
Levski is our first and biggest social outpost for Nyx.
I'll have to look at the
kind of like the
arc map. I'm not quite sure about that.
Before you do your panning. So it's kind of a San Francisco before you go out to the gold rush.
It's going to be the central hub for trade and hauling and all of the commerce within Nyx and also from Nyx to other systems. But it does have a CD underlayer to it.
Over the years, you're sort of improving the generation method of those asteroids to culminate towards this specific point to make large, explorable location.
Yeah,
when you fly towards Levski, you see this huge gas ring around.
We'll check the navigation of Nix.
mid-sized pieces of the asteroids.
After the stream.
Well, Levski is immediately apparently unique by the fact that it's a facility clamped onto the side of an asteroid. The breathtaking views of looking into the belt instantly gives it a unique charm and flavor.
As you approach, you'll initially see a very dramatic borehole that goes all the way through the asteroid. You'll also see growing out from there and alongside Levski.
Beautiful, love it.
There will be landing pads along what I'd call the spine.
It definitely looks updated. I love this.
Lots of
look at Diva's comment for navigation
pipes
issues.
And
Caster's not in
transport systems to bring out the refined mining materials when it was a mining station.
Before we were using an actual planet, so we had all of the space available to place all of these structures. But now it kind of meant that we had to create an asteroid which has the appropriate size to.
If we took the whole shot of the asteroid, you will see that there is an area to fly underneath.
Wow, dudes.
We plan on bringing in Hull C gameplay. So this is exterior cargo elevators. So as a team, you will be able to load and unload cargo.
Oh, did
There's a lot more movement on the exterior, such as the cargo trains going around tracks.
Put it in the Discord, DY.
It's now going to be fully EVA-able. There will be walkways around the main landing zone to walk on using gravity plates, but you can drift off and kind of go wherever you want. They can explore fully the whole place, which is great.
So they took it off at Delamar and put it on a large droid. It looks beautiful.
Unlike the majority of anarchists living in Pyro, there are people here in Nix that care.
It's not a downtrodden or
is it already in there?
derelict,
Okay.
dilapidated location.
I'll check it out. We'll watch it.
It has a sense of order.
But only where the People's Alliance has people living.
This could be a good location for us.
We've had Levski before, and we've updated it quite substantially to be more in line with the newer features that have been put in since, but also visually. And there's been a lot of quality of life fixes that we've wanted to add and bring up to like a good standard for a landing zone.
Totally, Eric.
Gracing the main lobby of Levski is a large statue of Anthony Tanaka.
Okay, thank you,
Who was a child worker.
And was being worked to death. All of them were. And Anthony Tanaka just had a break and just said no, and stood up against the foremen, the supervisors, the managers, the guards, and was killed for it. And so he became a sort of a figurehead.
And kind of was one of the linchpin moments in seeing the fall of the Messer regime.
The lore is so good. I love that statue. It's gonna be so cool coming back here.
So if you take the elevator up to the top deck, you'll see the top view and the cargo area as well. So you can go through the cargo shop. You've got your normal kind of cargo needs. You'll have ability to trade.
Very industrial looking, very worker oriented, blue collar
gear that you need.
Manufacturers.
So if you were to die in the Nix system, then one of the places you might come out from is the hospital in Levski, which is called the Mercy Hospital.
I'm digging the vibes.
The Mercy Hospital is just basically, it's a local med station for all the residents of Levski, anybody traveling through the system. Again, they're trying to provide as good medical help for people as they can.
When you arrive at the HABS location, you'll be presented with a lobby, elevator bank, and then you will take that transit.
Oh, what's up with the Brad, dude? Is that a new animal? New animal. I think we see a new animal. So
within that room will be pods.
And that's where the original miners would have lived.
I think we eat those things.
They're not the nicest, and they're a bit messy, but
I don't think I can mark that as a new animal. We eat them.
If you head down to the lower
I wonder if they're going to have them living and running around. That'd be cool.
Into the Grand Barter, which is your main social and commercial area of Levski.
This is where you will see market sellers selling their wares. There will be stalls. There will be kind of more embedded shops.
And that includes things like Corderies, which is your armor shop, and also conscientious objects, which is for weapons. There's also one of my favorite places, Café Musée, which is where you can go down into some of the more rocky depths and grab yourself a drink, and you never know who you meet down there.
We'll see. We'll see. They're just showing off the word Panda, but I get what you're saying, bro.
Other routes around.
Panda's getting concerned.
Side passages. There's another shop that's away from that area called Teachers.
Teach's Ship Shop is basically where you would go if you were looking to pick up a used ship, buy some ship parts.
It's like a warmer Lorville.
Sell some scrap.
Less corporate.
We've closed up Dumpers Depot for Levski, and everything that used to be sold there will now be sold at Teachers.
Okay.
Another new area, as well as the cargo shop that we've added, is the refinery deck for Levski. That's where you can take your processed goods, not just from Levski, but from the rest of the Nix system, and refine and sell those goods there. As a lot of the content in the next coming releases for Nix is going to be mining related. So it's super important that Levski is a really nice hub for mining type of gameplay.
Mining's got a deeper gameplay loop.
So we're really happy to bring Levski back into the game. It's been gone for quite a few years now.
I think it really provided a unique environment of I
want some crafting.
Run down, but the people who live there love it and are working their hardest to make it a great place to
crafting,
live.
the mining.
This is a location that has a lot of nostalgia for you guys, and we don't want this just to be a re-release. We do want you to go, wow.
It's not going to be as complete as Pyro was when it first came out, but it's going to be our first iteration, and you're going to be able to see it grow as we work on it.
Like with everything, we're always learning and improving and finding new ways.
I mean, is there anything more Star Citizen than just building the system while the players watch us build it around them?
And add a nice dynamic to Stanton and be a much more calming of style system than Pyro.
The people that would have played it before are going to love to see this come back, and the people that haven't seen it before, it's going to be a great new location.
This is the first time that I'm going to be able to touch stuff and kind of bring my own content to the game, and that's really exciting to me.
Levski coming back into the game is a huge milestone personally for me. So I worked on the original quite some time ago, so seeing it come back and updated and improved and better is fantastic.
What's up, Techno? I'm loving it. I'm having the best time lately, Techno. I really am, man. I'm having a great time playing the game. I shared a really cool story about Golden Riviera last night and my adventures on Bloom. Man, I'm having a great time. I'm having a good time.
So we've talked about Levski, we talked about the Glacian Belt, but you're probably asking yourself, what's the new gameplay activity we're going to be doing? So let's find out.
Welcome to Nix is your first experience in a new space station in a new solar system.
It's a mystery to be solved. There's things for the player to explore and look into. There's going to be some twists and turns, of course, some combat, and if you're lucky enough to survive, maybe some good rewards.
This is basically a continuation of kind of our ASD storyline. So in the closing out what we had called our Science Run Amok storyline, we had revealed that ASD had been procuring sort of very black market illegal stuff in order to conduct their experiments. So this mission is basically going to be continuing on that trail.
So the Navy has learned that illegal tech is being sold in the UAE, and they're hiring Intersect to investigate. Intersect Defense Solutions is the leading military defense contractor in the UAE. So the Navy contracts with them a lot for doing various kind of military operations that they don't want to handle themselves. We didn't want players to be working directly for the Navy. The Navy just doesn't call up random citizens and ask like, hey, if you're free, can you fly a helicopter? I guess as a player, when you can think about like, oh, where am I going to be doing missions that are capital ship battles or large fleet scale stuff or military operations, that's all going to come from Intersect Defense Solutions. Intersect have discovered the source of the illegal tech is in the Nix system and an old abandoned QV Planet Services logistics station that's come back online.
So they want the players to figure out what's going on.
So when you come out of Quantum and you start your approach vector to the objective, you'll be weaving through asteroids, going through the Glacian Belt, and slowly the station will reveal itself. Now this is an old QV logistics station. It's pretty beat up, it's pretty derelict, but there's some points of interest that you'll spot as you go through. So the station itself shares design cues from old Pan Am stations found in Pyro. This architectural design found its way over to the Nix system as the system was being established. But you'll also see some additional design cues that QV planetary services were adding, so it's a nice transition architectural point. It's fairly skeletal in design. You'll see logistics yards and cargo yards, but also facilities pinned inside the asteroid, creating this network of facilities. You'll notice there's a Polaris near the main hub. It's not a normal Polaris. It's damaged, it's broken. It's not a standard corporate Polaris. So at this point, you should be asking yourself, who does this belong to? Away from the Polaris, you'll see struts leading to asteroid bases. Now, these asteroid bases are locked, so you don't know exactly what's inside just yet. But all of this comes together to form the playground for the mission to take place. So not only is this facility unabandoned, but it's also under attack from a surprising but familiar foe.
Oh, shit. Wait a second. Are they going to introduce Vandals into missioning in the PU? I don't even think that was on the bingo card.
In the PU, the Vandal.
Yeah!
So the Vandal are a nomadic, very, very, very violent spacefaring race.
They've been striking out against outposts and such in the Nix system. They don't really know what they want, don't know why they're doing it, but it seems like whoever's running the station is really pissed them off.
Vandal raiding parties have been arriving in the system.
In the PU, officially. That's
unaffiliated
huge.
to any clan. There's small groups coming in and picking at them. But as time goes on, those raids have getting bigger and more frequent.
They'll be the scythes that you're familiar with, glaives and blades that we all know and hate, and a new craft for the PU, the Vandal Stinger.
New ship.
You will be contacted by some civilians on arrival asking you for help.
So at this point, you have a choice. You can either bug out, mission over, or join the fight. This will be the first time since the PU launched that you'll be able to fight against Vandal aggressor ships.
This fight will be intense. The player should be able to deal with them, but they will have to be prepared and they'll have to come back in to fight off this initial wave, and that won't be the end of it.
After you fight off the Vandal ships, the mysterious inhabitants of the station invite you to come on board.
Which Intersect sort of will encourage you to do because it'll help further their investigation against what's happening here, why these QV stations have come back online.
You dock your ship, you board the station, and it turns out the inhabitants here have a real surprise for you.
The player will be immediately ambushed. These guys are not your friends.
Of course, it's not going to be easy because the people that are inhabiting the station are going to fight you every step of the way.
The fight will be challenging, but this definitely will be the warm-up phase of this mission. This will be the players getting a sense of what exactly is going on here, who these new people are. They'll be in unfamiliar armor. They'll be wielding unfamiliar weapons.
Interesting.
And we want you to get a sense that you are in a new place, in a new territory, fighting a new faction.
Good.
So after you survive this initial ambush, you get back in touch with Intersect, and obviously the question is, who are these people? Why are they attacking? Why are the Vandal attacking them?
At this point, there's more going on here than anyone thought. The directive from Intersect is to explore the station and collect as much information as you possibly can.
Along the way, you're going to get to explore some new areas.
It's not just the space station. There's the disabled capital ship. There's asteroid bases nearby with obvious installations there, other forces that the Vandal have been attacking. There's a debris field.
Explore the locations in any order you want and try to find out who these people are and why the Vandal are after them.
You'll find new clues. You'll find ways to solve the puzzle of what's going on at the space station and find out what kind of loot they have for you now that you've beat them.
And of course, this is a legally open station, so anything you find is yours to keep and sell, maybe even give to Wicklow. This isn't just a one-time event, this is a permanent sort of mission that we're going to be adding to the game.
You can go back and repeat this mission and find ways to do it even better, even faster.
There'll be a different story and different flavor. Obviously, we can't have the same thing happen every time. There'll be other missions that Intersect will offer to you based on the evidence that you found.
Now you know the real story, and you can start digging and giving more information to Intersect along the way.
I'm super excited to finally see the Vanduul in the PU.
I'm excited to bring cool Vanduul ship combat to SC.
Players in the PU will now get to face down these awesome ships and get a taste of like we already have it in Arena Commander, where you get to fight the Vanduul swarm, and being able to do that in the PU is going to be, I think, a heck of a lot of fun.
So this marks a great milestone for us for not only pushing hard and adding great content this year, we're also being able to introduce the next star system and introducing the next landscape to tell new stories and add new gameplay beats into the ever-expanding universe. So we'll leave 4.4 there. If you're at one of the watch parties, please raise a toast to the great work that all the teams have been doing this year. And I'll be right back in just a few minutes to look ahead at some of the things coming in 2026.
Very cool.
Hello, everyone! And welcome to the Voyager Bar in beautiful scenic Orizon, where the staff of Cloud Imperium Games Manchester is gathered for their very own CitizenCon Direct watch party.
I had to turn that down. Man,
As the dozens of such events happening at locations around the world, we've gathered today to watch this sneak peek at just a little of what the next year of Star Citizen has in store for everyone. Oh, that was really good, everybody. I'm Jared Huckabee, your host for the festivities and for the show today, and let me tell you, it's not a joke, it's not a gag. Next week, we're hitting our 9th patch in 10 months, and then in November, we're going to finish out the year strong with the long-awaited arrival of the Nyx system. And in case you missed it, because you were chatting with friends, it's not the lawless wasteland of Pyro many folks have been speculating, but an independent system with its own set of rules and laws and multiple ways to get there. It's an exciting time for everyone at Cloud Imperium Games because, as the architects of our persistent universe said at the start of the show, the foundational tech that we've been building for so many years has now unlocked us to bring more to Star Citizen than ever before as we continue our journey towards 1.0. Now, before we continue with the show, let's get a few housekeeping tasks out of the way. First, we're simulcast on YouTube and Twitch. So if you want the keen communities of Twitch or the 4K ultra high resolution of YouTube, you have your choice. Second, throughout the broadcast today, we want to see and hear what you have to say along the way, and you can tell us on social media by using hashtag CitizenCon.
Santa, I don't know why.
We're especially interested to see any photos from those watch parties that are happening across the globe, and we're going to find some way to bring a few of them into the broadcast later in the program. Third, we've also had a CitizenCon contest going for people to create their very own slice of life in the PU videos, and we played the winning entries during our pre-show countdown. The offerings were super varied. The idea was to work with a team to show the life of a miner or a hauler or a bounty hunter or whatever. But one guy just said, I'm going to make a video about how awesome I am. And I respect that. So shout out Nocturnal Revenant. I don't remember if you were one of the winners getting an L21 Wolf from Kruger for their efforts, but you won the coveted Disco Lando Complete Narcissist Award. Good job. And to all the winners, I'm sure someone will either be in touch with you about your wolves or they'll just show up on your accounts. I really don't know how that process works. Probably would have been good to find out before the show, huh? He's so afraid. Either way, if you missed the pre-show and are curious if you won, you can check the replay after we're done here today. All right. I just realized that my bosses, Chris and Sandy, are sitting in a movie theater watch party in Switzerland right now. A completely captive audience. So real behind the scenes here. This is especially torturous for Chris right now because he's super excited about the next segment we've got coming up. Aren't you, Chris? And you're just sat there right now, forced to watch and listen to anything I say. Do either of you regret that decision so long ago? All right, so I've probably pushed my luck enough. Let's get to the next thing. When Nix arrives next month, it'll have Levski, the Glacium Belt, and the new Welcome to Nix operation we just discussed. But throughout 2026, we'll also continue to build the star system out with new features and new technologies that will not only set Nix apart and give it a unique identity from its sibling star systems, but continue to set Star Citizen apart from other video games altogether. Now, at this point, if you're running one of the watch parties, you're gonna wanna crank your speakers up for some brand new music from the maestro Pedro himself. And let's take a look at some of what the next year has to offer for the Nix system.
Pepe, turn it up. Good job, Pepe.
At Cloud Imperium Games, we believe art inspires the best technology, and through the development of that technology, it pushes us to create even better art. When Genesis comes to the persistent universe starting next year, it will change how you experience every world, and not just in the building of the new planets for the Nix system. We will also go back through Stanton and Pyro and reimagine them through the lens of our technology. Previously, and more traditionally, we'd create slices of biomes, like deserts or forests. This approach moved us forwards and got us this far, but solving the scale was always tricky. And for Star Citizen, we like to do scale on another level.
They're talking about
issues like seeing tiling from our height maps from high altitude, or the unpredictable blending when two biomes connected were common. But ultimately, things just never felt right. Our worlds were gorgeous, but to us, they still sometimes felt like interpretations. Now, this was a super hard problem, which we needed to solve at the scale for Star Citizen requires. We challenged ourselves to emulate nature in the most believable way, and not just on a planetary scale, but to our level of detail. With Genesis, we've made a complete paradigm shift to how we do things. Biomes are now created based on the physical data sets, with the assets being spawned whenever and wherever the correct criteria is found. So when you see a forest or a meadow, it's no longer because an artist painstakingly crafted it there. It's now because it simply wants to be there. It fits inside our rules. Genesis also ties into our other gameplay systems. Our new planets are built from the information we create for our different datasets, like height maps, humidity, temperature, soil type, soil amounts, geology erosion data, to name but a few. This means you can now tell where to find valuable minerals as the geology looks like it would be suitable for it. Where spring piles exist below sheer cliff faces, and where rocks have broken off over time due to erosion. Of course, these new tools still give us the ability to direct the look and feel we want. The attention to detail from the tallest mountain to the smallest flower is still our core DNA. With Genesis, we can now keep that detail-orientated mindset as we focus on the quality. And it provides the quantity.
What is this, man?
Genesis provides our planets with the ultimate sense of exploration and adventure, discovery in the purest emotional form. We want you to find that perfect place, with the planets providing an abundant resource to harvest. This is a major part of what exploration is for us. We want that feeling of finding a corner of the universe that you'll fall in love with, and where you want to settle down and build your home.
Holy God.
Now I'm going to hand you over to Will to go deeper
You're right.
into what we have built
total
that
visual
Genesis
upgrade
to realize our vision. As a reminder, some of the visuals you'll see will evolve and change as we continue our technological development. and hone in on the final look for Nyx.
I'll believe it when I see that. I mean, that looks amazing and all, but like, I'll believe it when I see that.
So in case it's not already clear,
amazing.
Genesis is our name for a group of technologies that are improving our ability to build worlds, refining those that we've already created, and ultimately expanding our persistent universe to the scale and quality that we all expect. I work on planet tech, so let's talk about how that's continued to evolve since our presentation last year. And instead of just highlighting some really cool biomes that we can create, let's go ahead and show how all this work applies to the upcoming planets of Nyx. So there are 3 planets in Nyx.
I love this.
Nyx 3 is a gas giant, and I think it's blue.
Blue gas giant.
It's not going to surface. I don't really know.
Oh, sick.
Nyx 2 is a yellow, toxic. It's got like this high pressure atmosphere.
Wow.
And it's like a very volatile planet with high risk.
Oh, I love it.
It's going to have some really interesting biomes for you to discover, but for now, just know it's going to be dangerous, because today we're going to focus on what we consider to be the hero planet of this system. Nyx 1 has got a rugged, remote beauty. It's got a diverse set of biomes, from weathered rocky mountain ranges to vast sweeping forests and grasslands.
I'm just writing notes.
And from damp, expansive wetlands to claustrophobic, festering swamps. These core biome concepts give us a fantastic platform to hone our technology. In some cases, because the current tech couldn't do them at all, or because we want to completely step up our game for them. So, let's approach this planet in much the same way that you, the player, will.
Wow.
From orbit.
Wow. Wow.
The orbit appearance of the planets going forward is far more tied to what is present on the surface. Previously, we had different data that drove the orbital and ground coloring. That's because the orbit was designed to look like vegetation that we'd place on the surface, and the ground coloring was trying to be a mix of soil, rock, and the organic compound coloring that forms the kind of colors there. Now we author much more of the data in a unified way. When you look at Earth, you see blues and greens for ocean and vegetation, and brown or yellowy tones for sand and soil. We wanted to keep it as simple as that. The same set of textures and data that define the color of the soil, sand, and rock on the ground are used to create the orbital look. We then assess the presence of vegetation and competition between different species on each part of the planet, and use that to blend in tones of green, including variations due to species health and the current season.
Awesome.
This creates a far more complete image and allows you to identify features, geologies, and potential points of interest all the way from space. Let's go down to the surface and start with something closer to what you're used to, but in a whole new light.
Take a breath. They're showing us the new, man. They're showing us the new.
When we approached the surface of the planet, we wanted to start by focusing on just the soil and rock. One of the things that was missing from our terrain previously was simply feature complexity. Looking at our contemporaries, we lacked detail at the ground scale. To combat this, we've added a new layer of data. That layer is called the medium tiles. These are intelligently placed on top of the existing 4-kilometer terrain tiles based on slope, soil type, and other erosion data. And these medium tiles don't just create height changes, they also bring in local erosion data both for soil and bedrock size values. And this gives us a whole new level of terrain detail, of scale, and allows us to create far more unique locations across the planet.
Wow.
So now that we've nailed the surface, let's have a look at adding some rocks. We've now got 2 major contributors to the rock content of our planets. Firstly, long desired feature, cliffs. We are adding large scale, varied detail to all our cliffs based on the geology at a given location. This adds an exciting new dimension to steep slopes that we simply couldn't get before. The second is a big one for you ground vehicle enthusiasts. Rocks are now found not scattered everywhere, like spilt popcorn at the cinema, but only in places you'd expect to find them, thanks
to a brand new rock scattering algorithm that isn't annoying as hell. Using physical data generated for each large and medium tile, now rock distribution makes sense and has a physical basis. So if you're still crashing into them after this comes out, that's on you. The rock assets themselves have had a glow up too. We now create rock sets related to a particular geology that look like they originated from the same source.
They're adding to the Genesis,
and this ties
Genesis
into how
Planet
we're
Builder
distributing
tool.
minables in much more interesting ways too.
They're adding assets to it to make planets faster.
So now that our base terrain and rock scattering looks good,
fantastic.
Let's add some vegetations and explore some additional biomes.
For real, Seraph. They're doing a lot of work with it. They're adding more assets to it. They're able to build faster with it.
Grasslands are full of trees, various grass species, rock formations.
Look at the new atmospheric effects, man.
And they're found in all sorts of elevations.
It looks
like
so much.
mountain valleys,
It looks so much better.
plains, and dense meadows.
Love it. Soil quality, for God's sake.
When we start to add a bit of fresh water, they begin transitioning into more wetland type biomes.
Good. More believable environments.
And while forests are super cool, let's focus on the grasslands and wetlands today.
Fauna's got to be more reactive and realistic in animations too.
How are we making these look so
Environments
great?
look fantastic.
Obviously, we've had grass before, but never meadows of it. Because until now, we haven't been able to spawn grass in large enough quantities or effectively represented at distance. So we're stepping up our game in terms of spawning, shaping, and shading grass. With Genesis, we now leverage GPU spawning to create vast quantities of assets across all biomes, whether it be dense meadows or more complex collections of ground cover like you can see in these
I love
wetlands.
it. They're showing off the new Genesis Planets
We are also able to fit our
tool.
grass tiles to the ground by conforming them to the unique terrain underneath. Now we can finally cover complex terrain shapes with grass and ground cover assets, and as a result they are now gravity aligned, meaning each blade is oriented as you'd expect and not sticking out like before. Next, let's take a look at how we light our grass. Now, as in real life, the shading of a grass blade, or indeed a whole field of grass, is lit very differently to like a flat surface. We now use a solution that shades meadows of grass far more like fur or hair. And this, if you think about it, makes sense. At a distance, a field of grass is far more like a carpet or cloth than a flat surface. This improves how our grass looks from a near perspective, as well as bringing us nicely into how we're solving the distant representation of grass. So, let's talk about the distance problem. One of our biggest achievements with Genesis is allowing us to build beautiful biomes out of flora and geology assets like a building set. Can I say Lego?
No.
Too late. But in the past, this broke down very quickly when objects simply disappeared when viewing the same biome from 10, 20, 100 kilometers away. Because we don't hide planetary transitions and allow you to view complex regions from very large distances, there are almost infinite perspectives from which you can see a location in Star Citizen. So, how can we afford to evaluate complex spawning logic at runtime for the entire swathes of the planet? Enter the virtual terrain. Virtual terrain, or VT for short, is how we now cache
They're going to carve it up
into varying scales. This has been the enabler for all of the lovely advances in terrain complexity and asset spawning we've shown so far. And it's also how we now evaluate and represent vegetation from a distance. When creating the VT for each part of the terrain, we assess if vegetation has covered the ground, and if so, what shading should be applied. For all of our biomes, we're now able to use the same shading model for the distant representation as the close-up asset, whether that's our lovely rolling hills.
It's a dynamic virtual terrain algorithm. It's an algorithm that renders what they think is the algorithm renders what it thinks it needs to render.
Our festering swamps
from different perspectives and applies it towards the patches that they've given.
So yeah, we didn't forget about the swamps, and they're coming to Nick's one as well. Built using the lessons learned and all the technologies we've developed, these swamps now spring into existence from the planetary data. This biome combines all of the elements from the other biomes we've shown you today, from water interaction, denser spawning, unique ground coverage, and I think it creates something really unique.
That's amazing, actually. Do you guys understand what's being shown?
That's our update on the Planet
amazing.
Tech portion of Genesis and how we're using it right now to sculpt the identity of Nix 1.
That's actually really cool.
And I hope you're as excited as we are to explore this and everything we haven't shared yet next year.
Yeah, that's amazing, Aether. That's absolutely amazing. That saves so much on your
GPU is now inspiring
as well.
Everyone here to create
what an ingenious
of
idea.
The quality and believability
absolutely
we've
phenomenal.
always strive for. A meeting of technology and art that I truly believe will set our worlds apart from anything we've done before. And with that said, let's move on to a little travel between systems, literally. Up until now, our mission system has been specific to the star system you're in, meaning a Stanton mission has to take place in the Stanton system, and a Pyro mission has to take place there. We've never been able to link these together, but with the introduction of our third star system, it's time for this to change. And that begins with the introduction of interstellar cargo.
What are you talking about today?
System-to-system hauling missions. Hauling is back.
No one said hauling was gone. You guys even play the game?
These are exactly what they say on the tin. Missions where you're going to start in, say, Stanton and end in Nix, taking various volumes of cargo between the stations. So there'll be high volumes of cargo that kind of fulfill the purpose for the Hull C and the other series of Hull ships. And there'll be a few sort of more direct routes.
So you might pick up some cargo from Ruin Station in Pyro and go through the jump point to Stanton and drop it off there at one of the LEOs.
So if you've never sort of experienced the jump point or going through it, these missions will require you to.
Very cool. Interstellar cargo missions.
They're no way limited. You can do them in any sort of ship you want, any size of ship.
Many traders don't even need that. They're just using the space trading tool.
Just a Drake cutter.
I've got a few ships, but the Drake cutter is really cute, so.
One thing that we're looking to add with these interstellar missions is scripted combat encounters where you can be attacked by NPC ships. Maybe the mission giver has tipped off some pirates who are looking to get a hold of that cargo, as well as express missions, which means the deadline timers that you're used to in the regular hauling missions might get really tight and you've got to learn to be very fast. All of the love and care that has gone into hauling missions so far, with the logistical network and making sure they make sense within the themes
they better
of the
boost
systems,
those rewards up.
Just as much love has gone into the interstellar missions.
You better lift those rewards up, especially if there's going to be actual danger happening on these missions.
At the start of the show, we said we was going to build out the Nix system right in front of you after 4.4 launches next month. And while we want to keep as much of what we're doing behind closed doors, so you can discover it for yourself, in-game and on your own, we still are excited to share with you a brief look at one of our up-and-coming locations we're calling Rockcracker.
What? Oh my God. Can I get
okay,
an
so
amen on that?
Rockcracker, Jared, is our internal name.
Rockcracker
what is this?
Where you have to crack a rock. It's a big rock.
New mining. There's the new mining. There's the new mining.
So way out into the Keegar Belt, you'll find these old QV break stations.
Break stations.
These were originally industrial facilities breaking apart large asteroids and mining them down. But since they've been mothballed and been left abandoned.
Love it. Love it.
So you're going to have to find your way inside and thinking about how do we bring this facility back to life. It's not just about flipping the switch. As you bring these stations back to life, you'll be lighting the beacon, and calling attention to these long-forgotten places.
One of the main features is the laser head, which will require certain things to get working.
I hope this is on the Orion.
It's up to you and your friends to find how to get in.
There'll be a variety of options. Whether you're discovering the bowels of the station and mining your way through long-forgotten tunnels.
Right, Limitless.
Or you're going through the main laser entrance. Now, as you're traversing through the facility, you'll find the old engine room. Now, there may be ways to bring the facility back to life, kickstart the engines, and bring power to different parts of the facility.
These rocks better be worth a lot of money.
Bringing the laser back online and cracking some rocks.
Okay, you better make it worth our effort.
The secondary gameplay loop is FPS combat. You're not there by yourself.
There may be squatters and outlaws in these stations trying to stop you from what you want to do.
So this is more mission content if you want it to be. If you don't, you can use it as an industrial base where you can crack bigger rocks for bigger rewards. Not quite certain what I'm seeing here, but more new, which is great.
So you've found these old facilities, you've brought them back to life.
It's like the Tron intro.
You've systematically brought power to various functions of the facility. You've activated the laser.
Okay.
You've fired the laser.
Tight.
You've broken apart the rock.
Concept art, concept art.
And then you'll be able to fly your ship inside and see what's there.
So you fly a ship into an asteroid?
Yeah. You just get into your ship and fly in and start searching around and trying to find the pieces that you want to mine.
Wow. This is a whole nother level of mining right here, man. Some version of
I'm really
this
excited about
should be on the Orion, hopefully smaller, obviously.
Activity. You can kind of go to these whenever you want to.
This content is for players who enjoy mining, who enjoy exploration, investigation.
Damn, the size of that rock
and
alone.
Don't mind a little bit of FPS content while they're there.
So this is like endless mining?
It will be a very new experience compared to any other asteroids, because this one, kind of like Alan and mine, will crack open and show its secret.
And one presumes you can make a decent amount of scratch on an asteroid that's big enough you fly your spaceship into it.
It wouldn't be worth doing if you couldn't make a good amount of coin, yeah.
Making promises for the econ team.
Yeah, they've got to balance it.
It's for people who want a lot of minerals. When crafting comes in, when all the other mechanics and features that we want in the game for 1.0 come in,
when crafting
it'll be a place where like an organization or a group of like 5-6 people could come and just get a monumental amount of minerals.
Okay, monumental amount of minerals definitely makes that sound good. It will be an org kind of.
That's a look at some of what's coming over the next 12 months.
That'll be locked
In addition
down.
to what we've shown, there'll be new mission packs tailored to the People's Alliance and their struggles. There'll be events that invest you into the evolving storyline of all 3 systems we'll have in the game.
Where's the economy team,
and of course,
right?
When we begin populating these with new planets, there'll be a whole host of ground-based POIs, settlements, and structures inhabited by those trying to make their way in the verse.
Okay.
And all of this in service of building star systems that complement the massive corporate yard of Stanton, the lawless ganking of Pyro, and now the new frontier of discovery for the Nyx system. Should I say ganking?
You already did.
Welcome to MMOs.
Good job, everyone. So yeah, a whole lot to take in there. Interstellar hauling is the beginning of a massive expansion to the mission system that'll let us connect these 3-star systems like never before. What else we got? Rockcracker. Rockcracker is just one of the next operations that'll be coming to the Nyx system in the first half of next year, where you're gonna fly into an asteroid and do that thing that miners love more than anything else. Complain about PvPers getting in their way. No, I'm being told it's mining. It's mining. And of course, one of the most anticipated features coming to Star Citizen, Genesis, and what that means for the planets of Star Citizen, including the ones already in there. So let's talk to Will Hain and find out more. And I'm just remembering that Will Hain is in France at the watch party. Okay, France. Ask Slarty Bartfast over there how they're going to use Genesis to update the planets of Moons of Scanton and get back to me, all right? And see if we can get some fjords. What else we got? The CitizenCon Digital Goodies Pack.
What's going on in the background here?
That went up for sale a couple weeks ago and has a whole bunch of mysterious items in it, and that's where I can tell you now that almost all of them are tied to the Nix system in one way or another. So let's find out what's actually in there. There's a gunship flight suit, helmet, 2 armor sets from that mysterious faction causing a ruckus with the Vanduul, and an Intersect BDU sweater and outfit, a couple of crazy weapons that I'm certain we're going to learn about in just a few minutes, some slick Levski swag, and finally, to celebrate the long-awaited addition of the Vanduul to Star Citizen, a cool Vanduul knife and adorable plushie, which I swear to love and squeeze and cherish forever. So yeah, it's a pretty solid haul for this year's Digital Goodies Pack, which you can still pick up right now on the RSI store. So now, let's go ahead and transition into our next segment. Much of what you see in the show today has been the culmination of a lot of people's work in... What's up? All right, I had a dream about like this once.
Yeah.
Okay, so against everyone's better judgment, the thing has finally happened. Can I help you?
Is Jared in the game officially?
How do you think the show's going?
Good. We're getting the Nix star system and the Vanduul are coming.
Kind of been a lot of Nix, right?
Well, yeah, but it's a major milestone and it deserves a major showcase celebrating everybody's hard work.
You got more, right?
Well, yeah, there's spaceships coming out.
Cool.
Wow, it's like they only scanned the original community portion of me. If pictures steal your soul, imagine what face scanning and PCAP does.
Well, this has been super cringe. So I'm gonna head out.
Bye.
Oh. Regular CitizenCon is still better. You should have done that.
Of course. Thank you. Part of me that isn't a soulless marketing puppet. All right. No. Let's just go to some spaceship show.
That was good.
Hi, my name's John Crew. I'm the Vehicle Director here
I was
at
getting
CIG,
a little worried there.
Welcome to Talking Ship, where we're going to talk about 3 new ships coming to the persistent universe.
Jared made that last part believable. +1 for Jared on that.
The last year has been pretty
John
hectic
Crew's
in
always
terms of
angry.
vehicle deliveries. I think
What do you got,
delivered
John?
the most we've ever done in a 12-month period, and we've covered all the way from tiny little snubs all the way up to capital ships.
We've kind of filled out a few little gaps. We've introduced some new ships by some old manufacturers.
You had the Polaris come out, and obviously people have enjoyed playing with that. We snuck the Idris in.
I boarded one of those. It was so much fun.
It's been a busy year.
Pirated
it's nice to start
actually.
revisit some of the older catalogue and some of the bigger ships again.
I think my favourite ship from the last year is a tie between the Wolf and the Golem.
Favourite ship from the last year? Probably the Wolf.
I feel like it's the obvious one. I'm trying to think of something else, but I really like the Wolf.
Everyone's mentioned the Wolf. The Wolf's everyone's favourite.
The Wolf, obviously a return of Kruger, a completely new aesthetic to the game.
The Wolf was, it was kind of everything we set it out to be, and it revived an old manufacturer. We've not seen anything from a while, so yeah, I'm going to say the Wolf.
The Golem, I think, is just an incredibly well-formed ship in such a small package. It really just shows off that Drake aesthetic, giving you the absolute bare minimum needed
one of these.
to perform
Reach out
a role.
to us, hun.
I honestly do really like the Zeus.
Is that
I think
Elijah
it came
Wood?
out really well.
I
It's
swear to
kind of
God,
hard
that's
to pin down a
Elijah
favourite,
Wood.
to be honest, because we've released, a lot of really cool ships.
Elijah
Next
Wood
year
with
we've
the
got some super
mustache.
exciting ships coming up. We're ticking off a few big ones, which is good. We're gonna see
giveaway. By the way, we're giving away
some ships from some manufacturers that don't have that many in their lineup. There's
Get involved.
a few big challenging ones starting, so they're good.
Thank you. Let's go for
breadth
that.
of ships, should we say?
Thank you, bro.
The 3 new ships we're going to introduce today all tie in some way to the primary factions fighting over the Nix system. We'll start with the People's Alliance and Anvil Aerospace.
Okay.
Anvil is a very military-based brand. It's been a brand that's in Star Citizen for a long time, fighting for lots of military contracts and lore, often up against Aegis, and to the point it actually beat Aegis in the past. You will be familiar with a lot of their ships' designs, such as the Hornet and Lightning. Earlier this year, we introduced the Anvil Asgard based on the Valkyrie chassis, which is an extremely popular
Very
offering.
successful ship.
And this year,
sale,
we're
by
bringing
the
the concept ship we introduced last year, the Anvil Paladin, to life. The Paladin is a gunship from Anvil Aerospace designed to support ground operations.
A gunship is a ship that's designed to sustain a sustained firefight while dealing a lot of damage, also taking damage.
We don't have a lot of gunships in the game that are true dedicated gunships. They are quite a tricky archetype to control in game without being too powerful. It's designed with a lot of firepower and high armor and health, but very low maneuverability.
$350.
It's just built
Paladin.
purely for battle. It's got lots of armor, lots of guns, big guns.
It's got a very similar squat kind of form to the Valkyrie. It kind of reminds me of, I guess, like a pit bull. Obviously a very menacing silhouette.
It looks quite forward-weighted in its stance. It feels like it's coming towards you even when it's just sat still. And I think that's something that helps with it feeling intimidating.
Is this like a bigger Reclaimer? Is this like
if we swing round,
Big Brother Reclaimer
clockwise, what you'll then see is the first of the side turrets. If you notice the canopy, you'll see that there's a fairly thick space between where the glass is and the whole exterior. That's because it has
Redeemer, sorry, Deemer.
Which can come out and give you a little bit more cover while you're actually attacking the target head on.
It's got these really nice kind of dual connected wings with the turrets out on the sides, just to try and give as much kind of range for those turrets as we can get.
Which is controlled by one of the two remote stations underneath the bridge. If we come around to the rear, you'll see a rail. Now that rail mounts the main turret of the ship, which is controlled by the co-pilot.
So you've got full 360 coverage underneath, full 360 coverage on top with it, and then the side turrets also have 360 coverage that way around.
It had a ring in front of
180
it.
out sideways. So
There's a joke there.
really you have, between the turrets, pretty much 360 coverage in all directions.
I'm not fired, he just said 360. They know what's up.
One of the unique things about the Paladin is all the turrets are remote and all the crew are located in this one central two-story room.
It looked like
a
crew
lot of
got in
our
a fight. He
gunships,
got like
crew gets scattered across the ship, but with the Paladin, you're all sat together with a nice, cool experience, so you can really feel like you're playing as a group.
You've got the pilot, co-pilot up top, and you've got the gunners underneath, and I think that helps with the intention of what the ship does, because you've got this really nice kind of like gunner viewpoint down, kind of giving this lower coverage.
We added a glass floor just to keep the two connected.
Oh,
I think that really helps with
snap.
the feeling
I like
that you're all working together.
I like
and communicating.
That said, if you don't have the ability to fully crew a Paladin, you can still fly it and engage in combat solo.
Obviously not as good as if you have a full crew, but you can't always guarantee your friends are going to be online.
As a solo ship, it's pretty capable of doing a variety of missions within Star Citizen. So if you want to run this ship solo, you can take on combat missions that, say, other heavy fighters like the Scorpius or other ships such as the Drake Cutlass could do. Coming aboard the Paladin, you enter into this sort of armory, ready room area. You have a variety of suit lockers and weapon racks in this room.
Everything's very militaristic, stripped back, simple. It's a very functional space, but you'll find everything you need in there.
One of the improvements from the original concept is we've added a small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store actual SCU crates. Forward of that is the route to the lower gunners, and then upstairs you have the bridge area, and then off that central area you have the dual living quarters, one on the left, one on the right, and then at the rear you have the main sort of engineering area where the majority of the components are. Also within the upper traversal area you also have a little breakout area with seating, food machine, toilets, etc.
Damn it, Ginger Cool.
I think it's a very cool looking ship. I think we did a really nice job of taking what was there in the concept and adding an extra level of detail and trying to kind of push things forward.
I think it hits the nail in terms of a really solid military ship. It's really complementary to some of the other ships in the Anvil lineup, so something like the Valkyrie where you've got this big drop ship. You know, the Paladin's there just to make sure it's safe, make sure no one messes with you, and just basically scare people away.
The thing I like most, I think, about the Paladin is that it's very clearly got a crew of 4 and they all kind of work and operate under the same conditions. You know, the pilot, co-pilot and the 2 gunners, they're basically all equal on the ship. There's one toilet, everyone's got the same style of bunk. when they're at work, everyone's at the front of the ship together.
It's really odd to me that you call that, you like that there's one toilet for 4 people.
Well, you know, it's you all work together. You're all equal at work.
The toilet seat never gets cold.
Toilet seat never gets cold, yeah.
So that's the Anvil Paladin. Whilst originally a military-built craft, it's the perfect ship for folks on the frontier trying to defend against threats. And talking of threats, let's move to our next ship, a replica from Hesperia.
Okay, this is the new Vandal design ship from
Hesperia are a high-end manufacturer. They specialize in recreating exotic and particularly alien spacecraft.
Effectively what they're doing is they're
What's the name of it?
remanufacturing them, making them a little bit more suitable for kind of human flight. And the latest offering from Hesperia is the Vandal Stinger.
Is the what? What they call it? Damn it.
Vandal are big, scary space aliens. They're like 7-foot-tall, evil war race that sort of take over, steal technology,
Somebody
absorb
get the name on it?
fuse
Stinger?
it all together
Okay,
into their own needs.
They are the relatively nasty aliens that you sometimes hear about and haven't seen much of yet. They also make really cool spaceships.
The Stinger as a Vandal heavy fighter was reserved for their higher tier sort of ace pilots or high-ranking members within their clans.
The Stinger is a competitor to something like the FA or I guess the Scorpius.
It packs a lot of firepower in quite a large frame, so it's a very, very tanky spacecraft. The firepower is almost unrivaled in terms of just both the number and the size of them. So it's there for players who don't want agility. They don't want to be in and out quickly. They want to be there brawling with big guns and taking all the hits. One thing Hesperia have done differently with the Stinger is they have done away with the majority of the bespoke weapons.
They heard everyone's complaints about the glaive and blade and have stripped off the original Vandal weapons to allow customization for standard human weapons.
With the exception of the single-size 5-gun.
Because it was too well integrated into the hull, even for Hesperia to remove.
All the additional weapons are generic mounts, so they can be swapped with any of the existing lineup that we have in the game. By doing this, it provides greater flexibility to the end user, and this is something Hesperia wanted for the civilian market. For that one bespoke weapon, the size 5 plasma cannon, functionally it is the same as the existing size 5 plasma cannons on the Scythe and Glaive, but it is a sort of Gen 2 model and wraps it in a different aesthetic compared to those models. You'll see they're very much older Vandal styling. This is much newer Vandal styling, but underneath it is the same weapon that people have used for years.
Our job as the vehicle art team on the PU was to take the Stinger from the squadron team and prepare it for life in the PU. We took an opportunity to take, this really well-established art style and, added extra details where needed.
So the exterior is a real blend of these kind of hard surface, kind of rare alloyed kind of wings, and then underneath this real kind of organic structure.
It's like a
that kind
beetle,
of webs all
kind of like
the
a
ship
beetle.
together. It connects the thrusters in, it connects all the kind of underside of the vehicle and pulls the whole ship together.
It's very
you can
alien.
tell it's very different from the Vandal ships that are currently in the
Such
PU.
a great design.
If you take,
for example,
great alien
the way the
design.
cockpits are constructed.
Up at the front, we've got this big kind of bubble dome
I love
that gives the
Hesperia.
cockpit quite a unique shape compared to some of our other ships, and also gives the pilot a unique position within the ship and kind of gives great visibility out.
Oh, wow. I
Boarding the
love
Stinger
it.
is a little unusual compared to other ships, obviously being alien in nature.
You're going through a ramp at the rear, and it leads you kind of straight up into the belly of the ship.
There's lots of organic detail, rib cages, kind of strange alien forms.
What is going on up in here, man? That is crazy alien. I love it.
Back a bit like a motorbike.
You're basically riding into the cockpit. It feels very much like you're being carried inside the cockpit.
Into the traditional prone flying pose that Vandal pilots use.
What is going on there?
I'm very happy with the Stinger. I think the team done a really good job of making something that feels different. It feels alien, but it suits our lineup of ships and it suits our universe.
I think the guys did a really good job of respecting the direction and vision from the original Stinger and Vandal ships and Squadron.
We've tried to take a lot of inspiration from movies and other science fiction material, but I think it sits well within the Star Citizen universe.
So we have the Paladin for the People's Alliance. We have,
might have to grab up
the
this
Stinger for people that really like Vandal and want to try and pretend to be them.
Dude, that was
But
so sick.
what about the
I
other
love
mysterious
it.
faction?
I
we have
love
right
alien
now?
ships.
So Gray Chowdhury got his start as he was working at a cargo center out in Odin. He started being able to get his hands on some stuff that other people couldn't, items that necessarily you couldn't find on a store shelf, but you wanted anyway.
I think Gray is interested in, happy customers. Gray just sees themselves as a conduit to get these things in the hands of people who would appreciate them.
And I think that his latest offering is really going to turn some heads.
What do we got?
So the Shiv, we don't really know what it is, to be fair.
It's what happens when someone who is a genius at aeronautics and ship assembly is given free rein to do whatever they want.
Like a cutting.
It's the best of whatever they can find lying around.
What the hell?
Put together to make something
Some bastard.
truly
What'd you do to my cutting
wonderful, arguably beautiful.
What?
And just released out into the universe to see what happens.
I don't know about this one. I don't know.
At first glance at the exterior of the Shiv, I think most people will probably recognize there is more than a fair proportion of a cutlass visible there. But it's had quite a few changes to it.
As you look a little bit closer, you'll start to pick out elements from other ships.
What is
You've
this?
got,
I don't know about
main
this.
thrusters
I don't
from the
know.
Valkyrie.
I don't know about this.
Even the bits that are obviously a cutlass have had panels welded on, panels removed.
Come on, Ginger Cool, what are you doing?
The top turret, which is now remote, is just this hodgepodge amalgamation with multiple other ships' turrets. And then the changes continue onto the inside, where again, it sort of feels cutlass-like, but then you'll find there's bits of Crusader ships just integrated into the wall instead of what was there originally.
It has lost its side entrance, some of its cargo capacity, but what it's gained is it's gained visually more powerful thrusters. It's gained a really kind of nice set of belly thrusters.
What's going on with the thrusters,
man? As ever with the refined work from Gray's Market, you can see that great care was taken to the health and safety to ensure that there's no trip hazards anywhere.
There's like loose cables, panels are exposed. If you look carefully, you'll notice there are like tools laying around in the cockpit.
It's gained a toilet. Bucket.
It's one for doing stuff and you need a second one to wash your hands. It's not an animal.
It has very much taken that ethos of Drake and moved it down a level, which I think is quite an achievement.
Just look at this thing. How do you even begin to describe the madness that created this? It's the Shiv.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
This is something new and different.
I'm going to pass. I can't do it.
Where did it come from?
I'm not going to answer that.
Just nothing. Just
no comment.
Gray goes to places and talks to people. I mean, there are just many ways to find these things that...
It's got to be the jalopy.
Dig
deeper,
are they
Jared.
legitimate,
Dig deeper,
manufacturers? No. Are they operating on the right side of the law?
It's
Maybe
totally
not,
jalopy.
but money's money.
Does Gray have a motto, an ethos to live by?
It probably comes down to, don't ask where I got it.
Don't ask how we got it.
Don't worry about it. Just ask if you want it.
I think the Shiv is for someone that is looking for something a bit different, a bit away from the norm, that just wants something that's unique.
It's definitely for people who like a
Manufacturer of
rustic
the
aesthetic.
jalopy.
It's a fun ship, but it's also really strong, to be honest, and it's absolutely a statement.
They call it Shiv because they
I'm
stabbed
happy
Jared
with the
in
three
the
ship
back and took
offerings.
his
They are
idea.
obviously very combat heavy.
There's something we wouldn't normally release all at once, but honestly, all of them are a different statement and they're all cool.
Ginger
As
Cool
always,
took it from
super
Jared.
excited to release these ships into the game and just see how players react and play with them. It's always
Damn
fun
you,
to see
Ginger Cool,
the
taking the
quirks and
jalopy
the
idea from
shenanigans that
Jared.
people get up to with them.
Come on, Ginger
So that's
Cool.
talking chip for another year.
I'm not even looking it up, Diva.
So I've just been informed that we have to do a bit of a timeshare agreement this year. So we have to throw it over to Alexi for Talking Weapons, which is an extremely original name.
Get a special shank ability hammer? Damn. Watch out.
I'm talking about the new edition that came out in October. The non-weapons are
thinking about that
essentially
Asperia.
the weapons that does not have a manufacturer, the weapons
Ooh, I like how
that
he
you
says
can think
weapons.
of that were made by space pirates.
Gray sells whatever he can sell.
Sometimes he gets his
So I had to
hands
get that
on
out of the
some
bottom.
weapons that come from unknown origins.
He will sell things that no company in their right mind would ever make.
These are the most kind of like scrappy and taped together and the most kind of like pyro-ish weapons that you can think of.
Oh, come
right
on.
now we're releasing 3 new weapons.
Weapons.
Rocket
I like how he says
launcher,
weapons.
the LMG, and the long-awaited Space AK.
The Space AK. I like his accent. It
I
makes the
think
weapons
this
more
is the
serious.
one that not only is the most in demand, but I've been politely badgered about the most. It's a fun rifle that basically fires energy and ballistic in sequence. So your first shot will be your ballistic, your second shot will be the energy. You'll see on the top of the art, there is a bolt that cycles around,
No
and
thanks.
that
No
goes
thanks.
off with the ballistic
No
shot,
thanks.
but it does not go off with the energy shot.
No.
And that
Too
is
much
just
recoil,
like a really
too much
fun way
recoil.
of
No,
making a weapon work in kind of like a scrappy, glued together kind of aesthetic.
It does kind of feel like that vibe for a little bit,
The
Eric.
LMG,
You're right.
this thing
like
is a
morphing
really
into
fun,
it.
slow firing.
Still professionally done though. It's edited.
It will bring the 50 cal,
Way too much.
and the only
Wow.
other weapons that have this right now in the verse are the Bearing sniper rifle and the Coda.
Honestly, if you even get hit by one,
Look at
you
that
just
recoil.
instant tier 1 injury, back to medical.
Are you even trying anymore?
You know what? We made all these really complicated, fancy guns, and some people just want, I want a slow firing rifle. Give me a scrap together box that fires the biggest thing you can possibly find.
We don't have a rocket launcher of this caliber. It will be
The
3
weapons.
grenades straight together.
You put them
that you
together
pull
and
into
the
tube
rings and the
fire
weapons.
towards your enemies. The cool
And
part
that
about
shoot
it
box
will have an arming
put
distance,
together,
so we will not be able
shoot
to
it,
just point it towards an
kill
enemy.
people
So it's going to have a lot
with
of
the
spread.
weapons.
So essentially, you're going to have to get
Oh,
very close with
shit.
your launcher to be able to blow up ships with a single payload in it. You can't actually aim the apparatus because you've got the tube on your shoulder. And you try aim it, you'd have to physically put the tube in your
Take a
head.
big step
so
back
we were
and
like,
literally
oh,
fuck
we can't have an aim apparatus for this. And then we realized like, it's in the spirit of
For
being
real,
the tube
bro.
that
Good
you
button
can't
push,
use the
Pepe.
aiming apparatus.
Good button
And you
push.
just kind of like, all right, I think that's the middle of the screen. I'm going to hit it.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
It's in the spirit of being a tube.
Are we going to talk about binoculars? Binoculars
Say
are really
weapons.
cool. We don't have anything like this in the verse.
What is this?
And
What is this?
I think it will be really convenient to use something that's dedicated to look for the things, especially far away, instead of using your sniper scope, for example.
Will the binoculars have glint?
I'm not aware of this one.
This guy is so
Probably
scary.
not,
This guy needs to design
because
all weapons.
Binoculars are not something that you need to be aware of.
I
It's really funny
understand
because
his accent.
obviously, due to Glintgate, as I beautifully internally call it, basically there was a lot of community feedback, basically saying like, oh, I really like spotting people. I really like playing a spotter, and essentially I was like, oh, this community wants to be able to spot people from distances. And what can we make gadget-wise that doesn't require
I'm
new
noticing the
features?
fans
And it
are
was
starting
like
to turn a little bit
binoculars.
sour with the
And I
presentation
prototyped
in the
thing,
chat.
which essentially was just a scope in a hand.
I noticed it.
And it worked. So we've got some really cool
Oh,
binoculars
wow,
coming
I
that
dig
allow
that.
you to spot people from
It's
distances.
just a scope, though, but in a
And
bigger,
how much damage
better
do the binoculars
magnification.
do?
Depends on how you throw them.
I would like to be able to mark it with the binocs.
Thanks, Alexei and Zach.
For a bomb.
That's the end of this segment for this year. So that's talking
For the
ship
Herc.
and weapons, unless anyone else is going to come
That
and
would be sweet,
tell
right?
me something
Limitless?
else. It's been an exciting year, and I think the next year of ships is going to be even more exciting and
Night vision.
expansive than this year.
It's got night vision, says Adam. Nice. I want it to be able to mark spots for the Herc to drop bombs on. You know what I'm saying? Paint the target. Right, Betty. Right. Get those binocs add. I don't think that'd be hard to add.
Well.
All right, come on, boost it up now. Make us feel like
That
we're at a live
is an
event.
eclectic bunch of combat ships for the verse. And they're all available right now up on
we
the
got the actors in the back
robertsspaceindustries.com store. Also, any minute now, there's going to be a PTU drop that includes all 3. So you can fly them now ahead of a release next week when Alpha 432 goes live.
All right.
3 combat ships. I wonder if they'll have any additional uses coming up later in the show. That's a hint. All right, what else can I shill? Oh, there's merch.
What do you think he's referring to
We've got
there?
these cool new Levski desk mat things. These are always popular. There's some Levski metal posters on the store, and of course, love them or hate them, but you can't avoid them. There's this cool new Wicklows Emporium t-shirt. Yeah. There's also a page published earlier today with a bunch of links to offerings from our third-party partners, from eye trackers to gaming chairs to
well,
voice
if he's going to
packs,
show, I'm going to show. We
spaceship
got really
models
good
from
merch
new
made by
partners
Bad Style.
like Planet
If you
Ring
like
and Pigeon
DG360, go over there and buy the merch. It's
You can
10
find
million
all of
times
that
cooler.
on the RSI website
It's the
as well.
coolest merch you'll ever get.
And what else can I show? Oh, for those of you who are at watch parties,
Bad Style designed them. And so did Daft. We're super
challenge
Daft.
coins. Who doesn't love challenge coins? There's these lovely Levski themed
Is he
challenge
here
coins
today?
if you're attending one of
Where's
the 9
Daft at?
official watch parties around the world. There's also a digital one of these in the goodies pack. So you check those out. Don't leave today
I'm pretty sure he's
without
here.
getting
Oh, I see.
your Levski challenge coin. All right.
Oh, that
What
was a
else can I
challenge
show?
coin that Grizz gave me yesterday,
I'm
by the
kinda tired
way.
of shilling. All right, let's find out some more about where we are. Simon, can we move? Can we do it? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Okay, here we go. Pardon me. Here we go. Excuse me. Hi. How you doing? That was my best angle. Hey, I got to be careful. Last year, I took 3 steps and tore a muscle. All right, so this is the 9th floor of CIG Manchester's Manchester office. That's
That would be the coolest
This
place
is the
to
room
work.
where we have lunch every day, and if you get here early enough, croissants, if the weapons team hasn't stolen all of them. Over here, we got some cool mannequins representing different aspects of the game. You got the ever-present, Hurston security armor over here. That's really
Man,
cool.
is this
you
all
got
it
your
is,
Duster's
man? If
armor
this is all it is.
right here. You got this guy from a game that we're not talking about today. Marine armor, yeah, it's all pretty cool. And then when you come over here, got a nice little recreation area. There's some sim pits over
give us
there
more
for people
content.
who need to test that kind of
Give
stuff.
us something else,
We got this
man.
cool Krigeri Bengal carrier. Come over here, shoot it. Go down the nose here. Watch this. It's very cool. I'm gonna go over here. Can you see me? Hi, Mom. All right. So yeah, and what are you doing, Richard Towler? All right. I thought John went to Washington, D.C. Let's see, what else we got? We got cool Voyager bar here. This is where we get all kinds of breakfast goodies, coffee, stuff like that. Hey, who remembers the big coffee controversy of 2016 where everybody took to Reddit and pondered the question, do devs deserve coffee? I do. You want to see what next year's big controversy is? Check this out. Come over here. Do devs deserve coffee? Welcome to the Stargarita machine. Yeah.
Everybody loves the Stargarita machine.
Do devs deserve frozen deliciousness?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. Go to Reddit and let us know.
Don't
All
go
right,
to
let's see.
Reddit.
Let's go over here. Competition. Oh, competition winners. We have the list of competition winners. Can we put that on the screen? Yeah, sorry, competition winners. Remember the competition for the CitizenCon winners? The people made the videos, and we gave them a Kruger L21 Wolf. We actually have the names. They're behind me. Look. Oh. All right, that's cool. Also, everybody's got food. Do I have food here? Oh, somebody's supposed to save me pizza. All right, so we got... Oh, you guys saved me a lot of pizza. Let's see, there's like 3 different kinds of pizza here. What if we just combine them into like a challenger situation here?
Just lost so much weight, Jared. Don't stop it. Come on. Take the pizza out of the man's hand.
That's a CitizenCon throwback if you're not familiar with. So I have now crafted my own pizza experience. And that is a terrible segue into our next segment. Gemma, can we, Gemma, are you there?
Yes, Jared.
Can we fire up the FPS crafting segment while I try to chew this off camera?
We sure can. Roll, BT.
Let's go to that.
Come on, come on. Hit me with a crafted experience. Here we go, crafting, 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 crafting.
Star Citizen, at its heart, will always be an enormous sandbox experience where you can set out to tackle the universe in whatever ways you want. But that doesn't mean we can't shape parts of the universe here and there to better suit our needs. That goes for both you and us. Let's start this part of the show with a look at how crafting is going to change everything from resource gathering, refining, and even combat when it comes online in the next few months.
The first version of crafting is going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials that have different quality, and using those to craft items which are better than what they have currently in the game.
The first version is going to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor.
Okay, good.
For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have
Total Buddy Holly
ships, we have gear, we have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve.
Val Kilmer.
And those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and weapons, that's how you progress in Star Citizen.
All right. So we're going all the way up the
Crafting
chain.
isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game.
Excellent.
The materials that you collect,
Yes.
how you refine them,
Giving
quality
them meaning.
matters.
Yes, yes. Giving mining and everything else
Crafting the
meaning.
weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have a higher chance of higher quality.
Excellent.
And once you take those materials to your crafting bench, the fabricator, you can use them to craft, and the different attributes will be increased based on the quality of the materials you use. It's not just iron ore anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire.
Fabricator bench.
It's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can understand what you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items. Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft and it'll get queued up and your result will be produced sometime later.
Cool,
You'll be able to get the new crafting machine from shops in most landing zones. You'll be able to bring it up on your freight elevator and use it in your personal hangar, or tractor beam it around and stick it on a ship if you want to use it from there.
There'll be a small amount of blueprints you get credited to your account just to test and mess around, but the vast majority of them will be earned through missions, and then you can use that blueprint to craft the item that it is that you've got the blueprint for. So it should be a good reason to go and test all the different various missions in the game.
The advantage of crafting your own items is that they'll be better than anything that you could buy from shops. You'll be able to increase and improve item stats that are relevant to your gameplay. Maybe a gun will shoot faster, maybe it'll do some more damage, or your armor will have greater resistances against environmental effects or incoming fire. You might be wondering, what about the upgrade and research? That will be coming in a subsequent release. We're happy with this initial scope for crafting.
It's going to be so valuable for us as devs to kind of get the metrics in, get the feedback in, because then we can make the changes that, you know, they only become obvious, so to speak, when you have kind of mass amounts of data and mass amounts of users using it. So I'm very excited to get it out in the wild.
It's our intention to get crafting out on tech preview by the end of the year and get the testing we need so we can release it when it's ready.
So that's one way you'll be crafting your own experiences in the Star Citizen universe. But what about us? Where do we get to hone in and craft a bespoke experience here and there, specifically tailored to individual or small group play? Well, that's where instancing comes in. And I'm going to let Benji tell you a little bit more.
Instancing, okay.
We're bringing instancing to Star Citizen in 2026. Why are we doing it, and how will it work? So if you've played any content in 2025 in Star Citizen, you know that most of these areas were in actual PvP zones where other players could interfere. Instancing is a means to create an environment where designers can create tailored content that's tuned to a specific group size, but it is also protected from outside interference.
Nice.
It's not to say that we don't love PvP. I'm a PvP guy. PvP me, bro. But like most MMOs, a good balance between a dangerous overworld and a protected instances is needed. Right now, we don't have this ability, and this is something we really need in order to give you a sense of progression that is tailored and balanced to a tunable amount of groups, so the difficulty matches the group size. There's a beginning and an end. It doesn't mean that that doesn't fit in our overworld strategy, meaning getting to the instance is dangerous, exiting the instance is dangerous, or can be interfered with others. But at least when you're playing the content, we can actually make something that's curated for one experience. So before anybody says this is only a PvE thing, this technology can also be applied to unlock curated PvP experiences that are as seamless as the PvE ones.
Right.
So it's not about one thing or the other. It's really about unlocking developers' ability to create curated content.
Right.
So that said, how will it work? Instancing is really an evolution over static to dynamic meshing. We want your instances to be as seamless as your instance hangars, meaning that when you take an elevator, you exit the elevator, you're inside the instance. A gateway opens, you cross that gateway, you're now into your instances. Could be also a quantum jump into an instance that you don't even see. The transition is just like a dynamic mesh transition. And so throughout the universe, we will be able to add these areas that are open or closed instances that allow you to join in either with a party and have a reserved instance for your party, or join in open instances that has a number of slots. And so some of those areas will be completely instanced on different servers. This allows us to leverage the compute power of the entire mesh. The closed ones will be really to drive one piece of content. You enter and exit seamlessly, just like we do with your instance hangars currently. Let's go and find out what one of our first instances will be.
Siege of Arisen was an event we did previously, which created a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress through contested islands of Arisen. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled a little bit from its technical execution. But now with the introduction of instancing, it gives us an opportunity to evolve it and modify it and make it better for you and a small group to work through that activity.
Okay.
It is an event that I had the honor of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Nine Tails have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
And you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control.
Our boy Elliot's doing a good job, man.
So in our current thinking, Siege of Arison is designed for about a 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic whose sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of your team and the health of them. And some of you will be the people who push for the objectives to try and get sort of most of the mission done. The event was designed for about 15 to 30 people, but when we released it, we fixed the problem with 2 DGSs on one server that was fighting for resources. And with that, we also upped the player count to 100. So when it first debuted, it was already too full for what it was designed for.
It was a massive operation at the time. I think that bringing it back and giving it a refresher will be a fantastic addition back into the PU.
So imagine if Siege was a instance that you could go in and play solo, or if it was a public event that you could go with your friends or you could join up with random players on the server. There's lots of ways that we want to take a look at Siege, how we can make it a more approachable piece of content.
I'm excited, to say the least, to bring back Siege of Orison to Star Citizen and to sort of have it be one of the first tests that we have for instancing and really get it back to sort of a core experience point where it should be. So while the next season is quite heavily focused on Nyx, I'm also very happy that we're not really ignoring our other two systems of Standard and Pyro, and we're going back there and we're sort of improving and expanding on the player's life in those two systems as well.
Yes, and while things like Genesis, interstellar hauling, crafting, Siege of Orison, and more will reveal next year, we'll continue to bring life into the existing universe outside of Nyx. There's still one more exciting use for instancing we're building right now. It's an earlier look than normal, and some of it is still in white box, but we're excited to share the first look at a major content release of 2026, and what it means for progression-based gameplay. As an evolution of our Building Interior initiative, you won't discover it by accident, because when it's complete, it will be found deep within the heart of Levski itself. This is the Municipal Works. So inside the facility, you'll find huge vaporization chambers, old processing plants, industrial tunnels, and eventually into the old turbines which are still pumping heat into the old rock.
So this is the true history of Levski. This is a place where you won't see in Lorville, you won't see in I-18 or the other landing zone. It's the pure basis of Levski. You will have, of course, metal and tunnels and more structural plays, but you will also see a lot of rock and cave. So it's not a place you go to take vacation. It's really a place you go to fix stuff.
Not everybody has what it takes to come down there and do the job that needs to be done.
All of your sewage systems have stopped working. Everything's going to quite literally. And so the player is tasked with their group, most likely, to go into there, take out the outlaws and get the facility working again.
So let me get this straight. This is literally a mission to fix the toilets of Levski.
It's not just the toilets. You're also trying to turn on the air. Air is a bit more important. It still works in Levski, but they have maybe polluted air because it's not being cleared properly. It's not just for the toilet.
Mission.
It's also a little bit more exciting than just going into some vents. It's like a free layered system where there's 3 chapters.
This will be mission driven and repeatable. Everything from mining to salvage to combat to investigation, a variety of roles. Narratively, it's a real sandbox. Every progression you do will unlock a new area that will link back to previous areas, complexifying the play space.
We've been wanting to have more gameplay around landing zones for a long time. Now that we have instancing tech coming online, that allows us to do something that provides really cool gameplay close to a landing zone.
With the missions, that's what will create different overlays or change the spaces or change the progression, but it'll be the instancing which will enable us to create tailored content to you and your group. So you're going to be able to play a part of it, make your progress,
totally
and then
hammer.
And then the next time you come online, you'll be able to pick up where you left off.
It's going to allow players to return back to it at different states depending on how much you've progressed and be able to keep it going until you've reached sort of the end of the whole 3 chapters.
Where you're not going to have other people getting in your way. It's you, your team, your party.
Absolutely
it's a way
agree with you,
of
engineering.
giving players content where they know exactly where they're at and they can keep going back to it and improving sort of their own progress and ability to jump through them faster and faster times as well.
So that's a look at how we'll be allowing players and developers alike to create more crafted experiences within the greater sandbox of the persistent universe. Okay, is that it for me at this point, Jared?
Almost. Throw it back to me and I've got one more for you after this.
Back to you, Jared.
So far, the bingo card's not looking so hot right now. Like, look at this bingo card right now. But that's all we got so far, this bingo card. Just 3. We got Nick's crafting and straight to flyable ships.
Everybody's really excited about the year ahead. So that's a brief look at some of the ways in which we're allowing you and our developers to craft a more curated Star Citizen experience. Now, at this point in the show, we are in the home stretch. We've got only one more segment to go. But before we do that, we wanted to check out. We said earlier in the show that we would look at what you were saying during the show. We looked at how to put YouTube comments on the stream, and it was immediately apparent that we were going to lose our broadcast license. So we're not going to do that. We did find some social media stuff on Twitch, though, or not Twitter. X. What is it called now? Let's see what this says. Let's see. We've got Welcome Back Levski from. I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh no. Oh, time to suit up. Let's go get him, says Ubu. I really should have worn my glasses. Cue the bagpipes. That's the other game, Charlie Oscar. Let's see. Nice to see you live, Jared. Mom? Let's see. First Citizen after playing for almost a decade in Austin. Right. Oh, nice. Straight out of Klesher, back to the Hex. Photos from Leicestershire. How do you say it? Is that Leicestershire? Leicester? Leicester? I've only been in the UK for 3.5 years. San Jose Bar Citizen Watch Party. Oh, somebody created a lovely Vandal mask there.
So weird.
Sean Tracy, can we get that in game? Just that, exactly. Just scan that, put that in game. All right, so that's a few reactions we're seeing on social media right now. Before we get to our big finale, or the thing we're going to wrap up the show with today,
he's going to be very upset.
I do want to talk a little bit about big CitizenCon versus digital CitizenCon versus what we're doing today, which is CitizenCon Direct. Every year, CitizenCon is a monumental task for any number of people, whether that's development, marketing, the support teams, the platform teams. Everybody comes together to make this thing happen and go off, hopefully without a hitch. And so far, we've been doing all right. Other than some
high note
in the room here.
Jared.
You know who you are. They had to know. But doing CitizenCon is not always the easiest thing for our developers. You might not assume this, but most game developers are not social butterflies. They tend to like to sit quietly in the dark at their computers, like little goblins, and just make digital virtual worlds like this. And then I come in all happy and like, hey, you want to be on video? And they're like, no. And I'm like, it's in your contract. And they're like, oh yeah. So we thought, we usually do it behind the scenes afterwards, but we thought we'd do a little bit of it here. The folks in the editorial department put together a brief montage of some of the more candid moments from the filming of CitizenCon over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to spend 2 minutes and take a look at that. Let's see what they put together.
How many CitizenCons have you performed in now?
Performed? Just the one. Nope, my first one.
1 last year.
2.
A few.
8 or 9?
Maybe 9 or 10?
Never.
Man, I don't know, man.
Did you like doing it?
Yes, I was completely terrified.
It was good, a bit stressful.
The first live one, I was a mess.
Weird combination of going from insane highs to insane lows.
Live ones.
Because?
It's over.
The live ones are pretty special.
Pre-sep's always fun, but the live events are special, aren't they?
Remember we were at that weird crack house in Ancos?
Right.
I like the live ones. I love these digital ones. These are the best.
Every time I've done it, it has been a digital one, and I'd like to do one on stage.
Is it because you have a restraining order against you, or?
Didn't know if I was going to be sick, if I was going to lose my stomach.
How hard is it to keep your eyes open on stage?
I think these are funny and good,
with the lights.
For a 2-hour show,
I'm realizing through this sentence that I'm closing my eyes as I speak.
Exactly.
Do I do that a lot?
Boom, Mad Style, you and I.
I am a very shy individual, so this is me just trying to get out of my shell.
Getting the crowd to react to the ideas that we've been working on for so long.
We can react. Watch. Everybody. Yay!
They don't enhance.
I can feel your passion from here.
They don't enhance. Not like I enhance.
Counting you down in like 30 seconds. I'm like, do I stand up? Do I sit down? Do I drink? Do I not? Do I talk?
This will be the best one yet. That's right. Because it's nice and short.
This last segment better hit it out of the park, man. Oh boy. Oh boy, this
of all
last
your
segment.
nicknames, why is Moist Master your favorite?
I think you mean least favorite, and because it has the word moist in it. I mean, come on.
We'll give you a new nickname by the end of this.
Sounds good. Could do with one.
Let's get started.
So for those of you watching at home or at the watch parties, you're like, why are we showing that? I put that in there because I'm eternally grateful for all of the CIG staff and developers who take the time to appear on these things, whether it's ISE, SCL, CitizenCon, walk on stage, be pre-recorded. It's not the easiest thing for everybody. And on behalf of the community, if I can speak for them in this regard, I want to say thank you for participating in these things each and every year that we have them. Now, let's wrap things up here. So, let's see, how do I want to do this? At this point, we've only got one major story left to tell. But before we do that, we wanted to do one more check-in on something we started last year. Last year, Rich THUR took the stage and presented his roadmap to 1.0. And we didn't want to go an entire year without talking to the senior game director himself to get his update on that 1 year later. So we're going to throw it to him, and we're going to go to our last segment, and when we come back, we'll say our goodbyes. And if you're at a watch party, it's time to get... I was going to say, that's not a word I can say on the camera. Let's just go. Let's just throw it back to me. Go to me from 1 week ago.
Oh man, I got so much to say after this is over.
Last year, Senior Game Director Rich THUR took to the stage and revealed our plan for 1.0. Now, before we end this year's CitizenCon Direct, we wanted to take a few moments and follow up on that reveal from last year, to do as we've done today and look at the year ahead. So, Rich, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Well, you're welcome.
All right, so we're going to
Chris
jump right
Roberts
into it.
2.0.
Everybody knows the only constant in game development is change. So I'm going to ask you outright, what's changed about the road to 1.0?
Well, fortunately nothing.
Right,
it still remains our North Star. The team is busy working towards that goal in the background, and every patch this year has moved us towards that goal. And if you haven't watched the Star System 1.0 presentation from last year, I highly recommend you do so, because everything in it is still relevant as of today.
You mentioned every patch this year has moved us towards that goal, so I want to dig deeper into that. We've done, at this point, 9 releases in this year, more than any year prior. How does each one of these not just sit as their own moment in time, but move us forward on this road to 1.0?
Well, last year I discussed the framework of 1.0, how all those complex systems can tie together. And one of the core aspects of that was the main story, which became the spine of the universe, which brought all of the locations, mission givers, guilds, and all the different areas of the game to the players. Now, what I didn't talk about from last year was all of the content that was going to support that framework, add the flesh to the bones, should we say. And I think that's where this year has moved us towards that goal. If you think about previous events of previous years, they've generally been locations that we've put into the verse, but they've been transient. We've taken them away, like Siege of Orison or Zenithreat. We've added them to game and then they've been moved away. And I think with the addition of the patches this year, when you look at the Hathor facilities, Onyx facility, these are permanent additions to the world that not only have their own story, as when we release them with the patches, but they'll also become points of interest and areas that the larger 1.0 narrative will utilize.
Since we're on story, I'm going to stay with this here. Since we launched the PU back in 2015, it's always been this sandbox where players can do what they want. They can bring their own story to the verse, and that'll never change. But how important is it that we also build this concurrent narrative of our own, this crafted experience, if you will, alongside that?
Well, we're trying to create a living, breathing universe. And that includes both the player stories that you mentioned, that they can go and enjoy and create their own memories together. But it also means that we want to have a universe that gives back. We want areas and locations to feel like they're believable and real life locations. And if you look throughout this year and the patches that we've worked towards, we've had an overarching story that's moved from patch to patch, and we're going through some of those cycles right now. We've also been introducing mission content that has fully voiced dialogue, and facial animation, which allows us to inject some of the meaning and the why to what you are doing as a player. And I think story is integral to Star Citizen as a connective tissue that ties all of these different complex systems together, because it takes players on that journey throughout the game.
To see this big turn this year to start injecting story into the verse, I think people are really responding to it. So everybody knows, and you mentioned just now that this year we changed a whole lot about how we operate and how we release things. How do you think that's gone?
I think it's gone very well. I think if the mantra that I've always been pushing this year at the beginning of January was patch always goes. And I think this year has seen a different development strategy for how we've been moving the game forward. That's where this different strategy has allowed us to really take a wider approach. And we also have to remember that Star Citizen is played by tens of thousands of players every day. And while we have lofty future goals, we still have to make decisions right now that make the game fun for the people that are playing it all the time, playing it as their daily game. If you look at previous years, we've had to hold a patch back, we've had to make concessions, mainly due to around a feature may not have been ready or right to go into there.
There were 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 5 months between patches.
Exactly, and I don't think that's good for anybody. I don't think it's good for the players. I don't think it's good for the development team. I think it's better to have regular cadence of drops. One good example is this year for A Line of Mine. People probably don't know, but A Line of Mine, when you turned on the laser, it was actually supposed to reveal the sandworm Valakar. And I played it, and it didn't hit the quality that I wanted to go into the game. So we changed, and I took it out, and I made that decision alongside Chris and Erin. And we've held that back, and we're going to work on that towards a future patch. But I think
you can see the
definitely
Yurmandi
the
and the
more
work that
regular
they've done on the
cadences
newest
has had the multiple benefits. And like I said, I want to dispel a myth right here, right now. Like, features are still being worked on.
It looks much
quite
more
heavily in the
professional.
background, from radar and scanning, in FPS, the new quantum, to inventory, engineering, and crafting, and all of those features are going to be coming very, very soon for players to get their hands on. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and say that if I was to go back to the start of the year, I would hope that we would have released more features. But I also think every decision we've made this year has been through the lens of making the live experience as stable and as good as possible.
Absolutely. All right, so that's a bit about the year before. And the year before has been, I've said this before, I've said it internally, I've said it out there, I'm gonna say it right now again on camera. I think this has been the best year of Star Citizen ever. And I'm willing to look right into the camera and say that. The player numbers are up, engagement numbers are up, the length of the play sessions are up, bug numbers are down, 30K is gone. It's been a solid year. But CitizenCon isn't CitizenCon without talking about the future, so I want to move us to the future. We've talked about story, we've talked about this more diegetic, immersive universe and adding voice lines and stuff like this. But where do we go from here? Obviously that continues, but what more are we going to do to make this universe seem alive and real and breathing?
I think the biggest thing is to start having that conversation be two-way. So if you think about this year, like you mentioned, we've been having fully voiced NPCs, but a lot of those missions and those NPCs, they're talking to you, they're talking at you. Right. You don't get to talk back to them. Now obviously you get to interact with them through your actions, you get to go and do their mission and you get to move that along and then they talk to you again. But it's a one-way conversation.
We're missing that conversation wheel.
Exactly. The next part would be physical mission givers. That's something that we're going to be working towards very soon, with Battaglia being the first one coming back in the verse. And just to be clear, we will be bringing all the mission givers eventually back, and we want them to be an integral part of the verse and the story that players go and enjoy. We want the locations to be brought to life, and as we mentioned last year, we want to have interactive scenes that you can go and be part of. And obviously the full end goal is towards, you know, to have cinematic stories in the game, and that is what we're going to be pushing towards. Everything we do, every decision we make is through the lens of moving us closer to 1.0. It might sometimes be difficult to see why those decisions have been made at the time they've been made, But rest assured that Star Citizen 1.0 is still our North Star. That's what we're still aiming towards. And that's what we're going to be moving forward with every patch next year as well.
I'm remembering
for real, Zab,
when mission givers were first introduced, they sometimes became a bottleneck. Is there a role in instancing, which we learned about earlier today? Is there a role for instancing in that, in helping with mission givers?
Yes, partially. It will be one mechanism that will allow us to have players go to their own individual area of the verse, have that conversation, and then go and continue on into the open world environment. So I think that's where, when we look at instancing provides us one tool that allows us to remove that bottleneck and provide a more seamless experience.
Happy you said that, because that's one of our last topics I want to get to, is how we reconcile instancing with the persistent universe. Like, for the last 10 years now, we've been building this giant, seamless, persistent universe where everybody can come in and play together. And it would be easy to have a first instinct reaction to the idea of instancing and say that's antithetical to everything that Star Citizen is. But you mentioned last year these 3 pillars of building Star Citizen in the PU, and I want to know, you said nothing changed, but I want to ask you about this specifically. What are those 3 pillars again, and how does instancing fit within the greater design of Star Citizen?
So the 3 pillars I mentioned last year were open world. That's just like the missions you love today. You can go and play, there's other players there, and you can go and enjoy that together. Then we have instancing, which I'll talk a bit about more, but similar to municipal works that we've talked about previously. And then the 3rd pillar was dynamic content, which would be content that's generated by the activities of the players. And I think it's very easy to become myopic around one specific thing when we're talking about it a lot, when it's the next stage of our development. And I think you could reverse it. If we'd have made a game that was all instance, and then I'd come on camera and said, hey guys, we're going to start doing it open world, it would be like, oh, is the game changing? Are we doing open world now? Is open world the new North Star that's going to take us this way? And it's not. It's just one more tool that's going to allow us to offer different and dynamic experiences for players to go and engage in. Now, when I talk about instancing isn't always what you'd imagine as a solo instance experience where it's only just you. We're going to have several different versions of instances. Some are going to be closed instances, which will be like the new player experience. We'll be able for you to go in by yourself, for us to teach you the ropes in a safe environment so that you can understand how to play the complex game that we've made.
It is.
But we'll also have open instances,
they have to be careful
like
about this route.
A cantina or a bar, where we might say, hey, we only want 50 people to come in here because we've got mission givers and we've got other NPCs for you to talk to, and you would just walk in and it would be seamless. You wouldn't know that there was an instance, it's not going to get a loading screen, you would just seamlessly walk into that location, it would be full of other players and NPCs, and you can go and enjoy the content. And that's, I think, something that instancing is going to provide us. It's going to give us a tool to offer different dynamic content, or curated content, as I'd say. It allows us to create experiences that are different to the open world experiences that we've already made. And it's not to say that we won't continue our open world development or only do instance content. It's going to be a mix. And like I said, this is one of the pillars that will move us towards 1.0. We will eventually work on
as long
dynamic
as they keep
content that will move us towards 1.0.
Instancing
and
away
all
from
3
Pyro.
of those pillars will interweave to create the full Star Citizen experience.
All right, so we've hit a lot of the bigger topics, the feature work, engineering, and FPS crafting coming to tech preview soon, stuff like this.
Otherwise, we'll have
we've talked about instancing and how that's going to work within the universe. But I want to ask you this one last big one. It's very easy to say Star Citizen is this kind of game and that kind of game. Those of us who spend our days making it know better. It's an everything game. It's everything we can make it game. It just is. But at the core of this is still spaceships. That life of spaceships. What more can you tell us about spaceship gameplay in the future? What can you give us? What can you tee up for us to look forward to for those of us who are really into Star Citizen for the spaceships?
Our intentions going forward are to make sure that every ship or ship archetype that you acquire has a role and has content that you can go and enjoy in the universe. For example, right now I know that we're working on more robust mining missions, more robust salvage missions. We're going to be working on refueling missions. And we want to make sure that each and every one of the ship has a purpose and has a reason to exist in the game. That's from the smallest Argo MPUV, as well as ground vehicles, all the way up to the large capital ships. We want to give them purpose, and I think it's something that we are absolutely aware of. We want to make sure that we're building that spectrum of content to allow players to go and engage in. And I think 2026 is going to be a very good year for Star Citizen, and I think there's going to be something that's very interesting and something that a lot of people have been waiting for. But rather than me spoil it, I'll let Ian and the team go into the details on that.
He had a twinkle in his eye. Ian, take it away.
I don't know about that segment. That segment felt like a sad trombone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta say, that segment came with like, it kind of.
So the persistent
like
universe
a wet blanket
has existed
kinda.
for over 10 years now. During that time, we've created lots of gameplay systems. We've added hundreds of locations. We've added lots of mission activities for different purposes: combat, cargo, mining, salvaging. But for combat ships, the only thing you've been able to do is fight other combat ships. In 2026, this
DJ's
changes.
falling asleep over there.
We're going to be delivering a spaceship-focused activity space which incentivizes the use of different gameplay roles. These are going to be scenarios where you're going to have to plan and strategize and create operational tactics to overcome your objective. So what you're going to see is very early. It's early in the pipeline process, and it's going to come online about mid next year. But we're really excited about the content we're creating. So we want to share with you a super early look at what we're building in a space we're calling Tactical Strike Groups.
Is it like arena commander for building a fleet and going against each other with battleships, cap ships? It's like an arena commander for cap ship fighting?
The People's Alliance are still trying to get to the bottom of what this new faction is really doing in the Nyx system.
They've sent a capital ship to check out a station and run into more than they can take care of themselves.
Unfortunately, that team came under attack and members of their groups were taken hostage. Now they've reached out to Intersec, who've reached out to you to help recover the pilot. Of course, it's unwise to do this alone, so you'll need to put a team together to attack the station.
When you arrive, you will have this big asteroid, kind of broken asteroid, and on this you will have this space where you will find three big arms. You will see in the middle, you will have this big energy core. Everything here has a purpose. It's not just for the show, just something nice to see.
You'll see a People's Alliance-owned Idris that's just on the outside, and it's going to be getting harassed by this unknown faction that you have met before.
So your first objective here is to clear out the ships. There'll be waves of these ships, so this is where you want your light or your medium or your heavy fighters, whichever playstyle you prefer.
So while one part of your group is dealing with the fighters, now it's time to actually assault the station.
This station has been outfitted to resist
What are they calling this?
all of the obvious way of attacks.
Somehow they've incorporated Vanduul capital ship killing turrets. These turrets ignore small fighters, and they have the firepower to destroy even the biggest capital ships.
Right.
Your Polaris and your Idris, if you get it close, it will get shredded. The idea of these is so we can sort of make it so we can mix up that ship combat, and not everyone can just bring the biggest ship and win just because they have the biggest ship.
You have to send out your best pilots to navigate the superstructure and take down anything that may damage your bigger ships. So at this point you're thinking, destroy the turrets. but it's not that easy. This turret has shields that you've never seen before. It won't take any kind of damage. Your missiles won't do anything, your lasers won't do anything, your ballistics won't do anything to them. But like everything, they do have a weakness. You have to cut the power to their shields. To do that, that actually brings you to your first objective, the power relays.
So the exterior has a number of power relays
inside the
that are
PU?
holding
Is
the
this
doors
a mission
closed. So
inside
you
the
can't get
PU,
in.
or is
You
this
have
a
to
separate
find them,
module?
You have to target them, and you have to destroy them. But it may not be as easy as it seems.
Here's our first
It's an
wrinkle.
instance in the PU.
Power relays
Shit.
have their own shields that are resistant to energy-based attacks.
We know how much you like using laser repeaters, but so do these guys.
Okay.
Capital ship can't get close enough because of the turrets.
So ships with explosive or ballistic ordnance will be needed here. That's torpedo ships like your Retaliator or Gladiator, or even another fighter with ballistics loadout. That's going to take you a while.
Once the power relays have been taken down, the station opens up.
And this is where things get really cool.
Now it's time for you to fly your ship inside the station.
Yeah, you, in your ship, fly into the superstructure of this station.
How cool is that? I feel like this is a proud dad moment. Thank you, Jared.
We're just going to call it what it is. It's a trench run.
Trench run.
Oh shit, okay. All right, we're recreating the Death Star here.
So as you enter the structure, you'll see cooling units along the sides that you'll need to take out.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Oh, Empire Strikes
There's 3
Back.
arms to the station that have these trenches. You'll fly into one, and then there'll be a core in the center, and then you'll move out another trench.
You're either gonna do it multiple times, or you need to bring friends.
At this point, the core is still protected, so these are essentially strafing runs.
There are objects to avoid. You're going to have to be able to dodge. You're going to have to move quickly. You need an agile ship.
Because the shield generator that you're targeting is emitting lots of distortion damage.
So once the cooling units are out, that exposes the core to overheat, which means that you can attack it from the inside and also from exhaust ports on the outside of the station. This core is armored and just takes a whole lot of damage. Once the power core goes down, the turrets come down, and then the capital ships can get closer. Why is that important? Because during all of this, you spend a lot of ammo and munitions and ballistics, and you're going to want to top up.
This is where we're gonna get our new feature in, ship hangar refueling and rearming. You're gonna be able to land in the hangar of select ships and be able to use the same interface as you are right now at stations to refuel and rearm.
It's specifically for ships like the Idris and the Polaris and other ships that are designed to have other ships land inside them.
Of course, it'll be more than just those 2 ships, and you'll find out more once we get closer to release. But this is a really important feature that we're really excited to get out.
If you're not bringing your own Idris, the People's Alliance has an Idris there that can provide a safe port in a storm, allow you to set back up and head back out.
And it's a good thing that you've rearmed and refueled too, because now another group of ships is coming to attack the People's Alliance Idris. So while the fighters are protecting the Idris, what's happening at the station? Well, that's where the dropships come in.
Now you've got to take a fire team in. You've got to land, you've got to fight through an onslaught of FPS enemies that belong to this unknown faction, and you've got to open a hangar door which will allow you to release captives from the station. After you've opened the doors and that person's taken off, you've just got to make sure they get to safety.
So at this point, all of this sounds pretty simple, but there's an additional complication.
So up until this point, it's just been you versus the enemies in the station. But the enemies in the station have their own enemies.
The Van Duel neighbors who really don't like these guys for some reason will come in and wreak havoc on everything.
And they're not going to discriminate between you and the station. They're out for blood. When you alert the Van Duel by destroying the power core that the station's now vulnerable, you're on a time limit. Van Duel are coming, they're going to come hard, they're going to keep coming, you're going to have one hell of a fight.
Okay. Color me interested. Okay.
Tactical strike groups.
Coming in next December.
So invested in this. So throughout 2025,
Eric,
we created a variety of
dude.
content. Some of it was very focused on FPS combat. So personally, driving a more vehicle-based experience was very important to me. This is a defining statement that I want to do in 2026.
Stick around for our giveaway, and we're going to wrap up.
There are prize possessions.
I'm going to do a little report at the end
to
here.
The objects we
telling you
fall
about
in
my
love with.
feelings on everything.
This is the content we want to create, which creates scenarios and roles for you to use those spaceships. We won't get to all roles initially, but we should see this as a landmark, a position where we can see a gameplay space which incentivizes the use of different ships and scenarios to clear objectives and complete missions in a variety of roles. And in the future, we can use this to expand on. So I hope you're all just as excited as I am for tactical strike groups. They're gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna fall short for many. This is gonna get critiqued to hell and back by a lot of Star Citizen content creators. I'm gonna let you know this whole presentation will. I'm gonna tell you the goods and the bads. Stick around. Thank you for being here on DG360 watching CitizenCon. We got the wrap up after this. And we got a giveaway for a meteor coming up as well. So stick around here and watch with us.
Okay.
We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. We're going to pull our audience. We're going to see.
Why do you still have the puppet? John, come home. All right, so tactical strike
create
groups.
a pool?
You know, it's been a long road for the last
Did you like
for the
it or
last
not?
10 years. The PU's been around. We've done lots to build stuff for mining ships and for salvage ships. And as Rich said, we're currently building out even more for those. And our first refueling missions coming online in 2026. But combat missions. Oh, hi, Aaron Roberts. But finally having enough of the foundation in place that we can begin to build real spaceship operations. Hesitate.
I had a great
in
time
any
with
other
everybody
MMO they
here,
call
Jam.
Dungeons.
Too, bro.
It's really exciting for me, and that's why we're ending the show this year with that. So yeah, that's been CitizenCon Direct. Thank you for taking the time to share this with us. Again, this is just a glimpse at some of what's coming in 2026. I've seen the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat like, oh, you're spoiling everything. I promise, we ain't. So before we let you go, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as with every CitizenCon, the last word shouldn't be mine. It should belong to our founders and CEO. So take it away, Chris Roberts.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into some of what the team is cooking for the near future. Of course, we're not going to spoil everything that's currently in progress, and many features we haven't discussed today are in active development, like base building, social, and trade tools that are very much a priority. These, along with bringing the final polished features from Squadron 42 into the persistent universe, will make next year the most exciting yet for Star Citizen. Finally, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone at CIG for working so tirelessly and with so much passion to deliver something that is already special and will only get more so as we continue. And of course, to all of you for making all this possible with your support and feedback. We couldn't do this without all of you, something that I and the team appreciate every day. We are very lucky to be allowed the time and the money to build a game of all of our dreams.
They're at the Billy phase,
something
dudes.
that is only more apparent as
This
the
is
video
the
game
Billy
business
phase.
becomes more monolithic.
Where they're almost
we are one
at
of
a
the few
billion.
large independents left standing, and there is no way we would be allowed to dream as big as we are on an original game and take the time to achieve that dream if we were part or funded by any of the few remaining mega game companies. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all in the verse.
Totally, engineer. Yeah. I got lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. Stick around. That's it. And that's it. They're shutting it down just like that. That was it. Oh no, man. Listen. So much to talk about. Is this what it is here? Masterful Engineer, thanks for that $1,000 bit donation, bro. I gotta say right now, I'm going to mute this. I'm going to keep this running, but I'm going to mute this because I got a lot to talk about. First of all, let me just say, let's hear it for everybody that showed up today on DG360. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you had a good time. I always try to entertain. I think this year, it was very cool to be able to hang out with you, but we do miss that kind of live interaction. Put a 1 down in here if you kind of miss the live interaction of the CitizenCon. See, that's it. Done. Over. And you're going to see a lot of people that are going to critique the hell out of that, but there were really good things. There were actually a lot of good things that were shown here. Let me go full screen real quick, and I want to show you guys the bingo card, which was, fairly disappointing. I'm wondering, this bingo card didn't even come close to anything I expected. We only had, out of this bingo card that we had made, we only got Nyx, crafting, and straight to flyable ships. We got multiple ships. That's nice. We didn't get any new JPEG concept ship. No mention of anything other than Nyx as far as systems. No new creatures. We didn't talk about base build. There were so many things that were not done, and I think I knew this coming into them announcing the fact that they were just basically going to get us to the point where they're at the Billy phase. I talk about this all the time. Cloud Imperium is at another phase of growth, and I think people need to start realizing that at this phase, they are not going to be as necessarily transparent as they once were. For multiple reasons. One, they got the money now. They got the money. They've secured the money. And they're like, hey, do we need to continually feverishly be as transparent as we always have been, because we're almost at the Billy phase. Now, that kind of thinking will F them up if they continue this. And that kind of thinking made them say to themselves, maybe we should do a CitizenCon that's pre-recorded and only a 2-hour show. I will say this. It fell short. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it fell short of my expectations. My hopium was way up here. I was expecting hit after hit after hit. And the way they started it up, I loved it. The way they started it up, they got me hyped up, right? The way they planned it, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. The first 30 minutes, even though they talked about Nyx a lot, I was like, man, this is going to be really good. They built me up. But really, what do we expect out of a 2-hour show? And that really was the baseline. That's the common denominator. When you only have 2 hours, right? You're not able to have the same thing that you have with a live CitizenCon event. So for me, I much prefer the live CitizenCon event over this. It doesn't really give the same, it doesn't have the same gravitas. And as a company, they better realize that, because I think that'll nip them in the bud if they don't realize it sooner rather than later. There was so much they talked about that I want to go over right now. And I wrote down some notes here for everyone. I kind of just want to go over these notes real quick on some of the things. And I took some screenshots as well. There was not a lot of talk about economy except for crafting, right, Mad Style? Nyx was nice, Betty. This is a warm-up for IAE, says Fingers. Figment says if they are going to reduce it down to a pre-recorded 2 hours, they really needed to make it a packed-ass 2 hours with no filler. Totally agree. Dude, you get an amen for that, Figment, right? Although I do agree with Jared that 2025 is the best year of Star Citizen. I think they've got that energy I've been talking about in 2023, which is what they need to do is create events, get people in, get people excited, get people playing, keep asses in seats. God, I got so much to talk about, but let's go over in order here what we saw. Nyx is coming back. It looks amazing, okay? Let me get in this screen real quick here. Nyx is coming back. New regular Nyx content is what they said. So that's nice. You know, they're going to continually focus on missions in Nyx. Great. Okay. The lore in Nyx was great. The way they started it up with Nyx, loved it. The new white blue star in Nyx with the light rendering is going to be fantastic. I love the fact that that Nyx looks very alien and it's got like a whitish blue. I love the lore of Nyx. I just absolutely love the vibe. CERN mentioned, one of our members here, he mentioned a nav point change involving Nyx. We did double check that. Diva let us know that one of the systems not being done is why they had to reroute. I'm sure that'll be changed in the future. That was a good catch by Diva. Will alloprats run around the stations? I saw a cinematic that showed them. That would be kind of neat. Unnecessary at this point for me, for them to focus on, but it would kind of be neat to see little alloprats running around. Those are the little rats on sticks that you see in Pyro. I think that would be kind of cool. Mentions of deepening mining gameplay, and they showed us break stations. The break stations look fantastic. I think you'll have a lot of organizations fighting for one another, locking down those break stations. Vandal officially in the PU. Now that's big. Fighting Vandal. Listen. Fighting Vandal in the PU is actually something I think is going to keep people very interested in. It would be neat if you could get the Vandal NPC bodies. I would love that. And then just do a video on that and show like what the Vandal, right. Just like focus on the Vandal. That would be really cool. New Vandal ship, okay, was introduced. The ships that were introduced, the Paladin, the Vandal Stinger, and the Jalopy. I'm calling it the Jalopy. You can't convince me otherwise. Don't buy the Jalopy. And Aether said to look at the page, but I will not look at that page. I don't like that Jalopy. But I think, because I'm a big Asperia alien ship fan, I might look at the Stinger just because it looked fantastic. I like the new station design and architecture with new missions. I like the fact that they're not all cookie cut. These are things that I liked. Okay, the new unknown faction, that's cool. I like that each new system has new factions. I like that. I don't want everything to be a cookie cut template. They're making every system feel different. Love it. Keep up that good work. I like that. The Genesis Planet Builder that was shown in 2019 is showing a lot of progress with visual upgrades, big time visual upgrades that we saw. And a lot of you weren't even aware that this was a tool that they're using, but it helps the churn of creating planets. And it looks like the Genesis Planets Builder has come like light years away from what I saw in 2019, which it should. I mean, like, we're 6 years later and I'm starting to see more from it, and it looked fantastic. If it in fact does it, we will believe it when we see it, right? I mean, like, a lot of us have been around a long time. The visuals are fantastic. Put a 1 in the chat if you were looking at those visuals when we were in Nyx and you were looking at the planets and you were just like, holy shit, this is like I was blown away, right? Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. And then because of that vibe, I was just like, no, I can't believe it. Can I get it? You know, like, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I mean, like, I'm going to hold back on that, but damn, it got me very excited in my no-no spot, if you know what I'm saying, right? So that was cool, right? Like, the whole biomes. And the really cool part about it was this virtual terrain patches, which Aether and I were talking about when we watched this. And the virtual terrain patching system is like an algorithm that renders all the pieces of land, like the parcels, up according to how that it thinks it can use your GPU in an optimum way so that you don't get things popping in and popping out, right? Like, I saw that, Aether saw that, we realized how cool that tech was. And right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like, this is something that I don't think any game has ever done, where they're taking virtual terrain and cutting it up in parcels and having an algorithm instruct each parcel how many things to load in that parcel. Is like, holy shit. Like, what? Are you kidding me? That's fucking cool. Like, that's really cool tech. It's an LOD system for the grounds. Is purely virtual, and he does a lot of work with that. I like it. I didn't know that that's how things went, and I was just like, okay, that's cool. I dig it. I was not aware that this was even something that was happening over at Cloud Imperium. Again, the blue gas giant looked fantastic. So, like, the planets and moons in Nyx look really cool. I just love that sunlight being that white blue rendering is so cool. There was a toxic yellow planet that looked fantastic. Almost looked like Aberdeen. there was interstellar cargo missions. So that's pretty cool. They're going to start putting mobiGlas missions where you're going from Pyro to Nyx and from Nyx to Stanton, and they're making mobiGlas missions that are interstellar cargo missions. I think that's great as long as the rewards are really high. Like if they're not making those rewards really high, you're not going to see traders even take that on because they're already running missions from Pyro to Stanton, using tools that are outside of Star Citizen, which, you know, those tools need to be incorporated in Star Citizen as soon as possible. There needs to be so much work that's done in the economic and industry area. It's ridiculous how much the work needs to get done. And I was a little disappointed that all they focused on was crafting, but you know, with 2 hours, how much can you guys put in this, right? That's what I said when they told me this year was going to be CitizenCon Direct. I was like, 2 hours? Like, you know, we are super fans here on DG360. We like events. We like them to be all day long for 2 days long. I want to sit my ass here with everybody and have a great time for 2 solid full days. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for having fun and learning new things. I just felt like 2 hours wasn't even close or near enough. However, again, while you're going to have everybody clickbait the shit out of this, you're going to see, put a 1 in here if you guys all agree with me. I think from a lot of Star Citizen content creators, you're going to see everybody clickbait the shit out of this and say how terrible and awful and this is horrible and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be like total monetization mode. It's going to be the same bullshit from the same people that do the same thing over. But like, all in all, what do you expect from a 2-hour show? So this is something that Cloud Imperium needs to learn on. And you do have to say that 2025 was an amazing year with a lot of progress that was done. So it felt a little bit sad trombone-y at the end, didn't it? It just felt a little like they could have done something a little bit more, right? It wasn't enough to keep us very excited in what we're accustomed to with a CitizenCon. And that's pretty much it. Like, I think if anybody goes and they start going full guns blazing against Cloud Imperium on this, I don't know. To me, it seems a little bit more dramatic than anything else, and that they're trying to get clicks and views. To me, it's just the same game that a lot of these guys have been doing for since the beginning of time to make money. Paladin now available at $350. Asperia Stinger, I think, was $315. I might get the Asperia Stinger because I love Asperia. I think they're my second favorite manufacturer. Like Drake and Asperia are like my top twos. Daft, hey dude, can you put a poll up and can we gauge everybody's vibe on what they thought of CitizenCon and just say, did you like CitizenCon, yes or no? Just give them 2 choices and let's see what happens with that poll. Put it up for the next 5 minutes or so while I'm going over this. Can you do that, Daft? Or one of my super mods, if you can do that. I just want to gauge what you guys are feeling overall. Crafting being released very soon is very cool. Fabricator Machine Bench. Now I got a picture of this because I'm so very much into crafting, and the UI looked really different too as well. Like you had a machine here. Hold on, let me get into a bigger screen real quick. You had a machine that, hold on, boom, 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 boom. Here we go. This is perfect. So you had this like fabrication machine, which I think was a neat idea. We saw this in Dual Universe, right, Ares, where they had the fabrication machine. It's like a printing fabricator, right? And I think personally, like, this is the right route to go about fabrication, and different machine sizes should cost more money depending upon how you're creating and also the quality of the materials that you're loading in this. I don't think that we're anywhere close to the economy that we want for the industrial players out there, the economic players out there. We are not there yet, but crafting is a huge step to get us in the right direction where we need to go. Right? It looks like, is that a new crafting tool? What is that? I can't tell what that is in that citizen's hands right now. But like, it should be interesting crafting going in the future. You see a panel here. You saw a whole new UI where you took pieces and parts and you could put things together. I didn't see any blueprints. Plasma pistol. Okay, thanks. I couldn't see anything else other than this screen and a new UI screen where you're able to put like different types of commodities together, which will give more purpose to those items. And I think you're going to need, like, a lot of people say to me, like, hey, DG, like, what do you think about Star Citizen's economy? And I say, what economy? You know, like people get taken aback because they think I'm like Mr. White Knight, like, oh, everything's great. And, you know, but like there's no economy yet until there's a free open marketplace. Oh, pull is up. Thank you so much. Pull is up. Did you like CitizenCon Direct? It is on Twitch now. We'll get the results here shortly. And I say there's no economy with Star Citizen until you actually are bringing in an open market where you can put buy and sell orders in, period. Then you got an economy. But with crafting, we're going in the right direction. Blueprints were needed. Quality is going to be important. There's a new UI. Specialized crafting means higher quality items, better than shops. Okay, so they actually said that when you craft items, they will actually be better than what you could buy at any shop, which I think is important because, you know, if you're somebody that spends the time in crafting, a lot of you that play SWG know this, the different elements that you're putting into this through the blueprint that give you the final product have different qualities, right? And you want the top quality. And if you're a crafter that knows what's up, you can make a lot of money that way. And that was the way it was in SWG. And I think if they just mimic that kind of crafting that they had in that game with this, I think you got a banger. And it sounds like, to me, this is like the origin point of how they're going to build upon crafting. And I like it. I like it. I'm glad with that. So crafting sounds like it's going to be good. Specialized crafting means higher quality items, better than shops, rewards those who focus on crafting. I got to say this. I got to say that. Like, to me, that's the right way to go about things. Okay, that's the right thing to go about things. But I got a lot to say that's not so positive too. The instancing section. Now, this one right here, instancing, right? This is a double-edged sword. They're going to have to be careful of this, right? Like, I get where they're coming from the perspective of a company. As a company, they want to secure the people that are coming into this new through all the new content, through Hathor, through Stormbreaker, the new Valakar mission we have now with the Yormandi. They're trying to create, it's good to bring in this new revenue. It's good to bring in new citizens. And they want to make sure that asses stay in seats and these people that are doing these events aren't getting picked off by PvPers, right? So they're going to create something in the PU called instancing. Now this, they're going to have to be very careful about how they approach this. And the last segment that was kind of like the wet towel, right? What I thought to myself is, Eric had a concern about this instancing, and I am right there with him. It's a 50-50 for me, and they better be careful. I share his concern. Keeping PvE players or solo-based players, co-op players, it's keeping those players happy. It's placating to those players. There's no other way to say it. Okay, that's just what it's doing. I am concerned a touch. I think it will be in areas, primarily pocketed areas in the game around these new events. However, I want them to be only focused, these instance areas, in lawful-based systems. Do you guys get what I'm saying about that? My concern is that they do this in lawless-based systems. You need to keep the instancing away from lawless-based systems. Do you guys agree with me on that? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because if you don't, I think you're going to have another PvP, PvE clash, right? It's going to be big. It's going to get blown out of proportion. We are at the point where we're still in alpha. I think we have to be careful about this instancing. I get it, but I think we got to be careful where we're going to put the instancing. It's where my mind is at now. If you guys don't fully agree with that, I get it. I'm going to wait until I start to see it function in the PU, but it's something that I want to be careful about. I come from an Elite Dangerous background. I saw Elite Dangerous do this, and it killed a lot of the PvP audience. And some people say, well, it's not important because Elite Dangerous wasn't an MMO. But let's not fool ourselves. A lot of people that played Elite Dangerous wanted Elite Dangerous to be an MMO. And that was one of the reasons why they had to redesign it today to make it more like an MMO, to bring people back. That's why Elite Dangerous is kind of coming back a little bit. So they're going to have to be careful about how they're implementing instancing, where they're putting it at. And one of the thoughts that I really had is, and I wrote this down right here, I said, the more I think about instancing, the more I think that shouldn't we be asking why security and security design be the instancing? for areas through the game design, right? Like, shouldn't the security design and the way that the NPCs react and the AIs react in law-based systems be the instancing? Shouldn't we be relying upon NPC AI interactions and security design that will limit the amount of shenanigans in those? Like, isn't that what we should rely upon? Right? Just a thought that I had while I was watching that particular segment. We have the results from the poll here. Let's check out what you guys said. Did you like CitizenCon Direct? 57% said yay, I liked it, and 43% said meh at best. So very interesting results. It's almost 50-50. It's really like very close if you ask me. I think people who voted meh was because we're so accustomed to having like a longer CitizenCon, and 2 hours I just don't think is long enough. I think they need to change back to the original format. I'm hoping that they do. I really hope that they do. So my whole thing is keep instancing away from lawless systems. I think that's your answer. If you're a level designer over at SIG, or if Elliot is watching, I would recommend to you guys watching right now that you actually keep instancing to lawful based systems and keep instancing away from lawless based systems. This is just an old gamer here giving my advice. There is a mission to fix Levski toilets, aka dungeoning. And we all laughed at that. We thought it was pretty funny that they did an entire dungeoning mission that involved you actually fixing Levski sewer system. And I thought that was actually pretty funny. Then we got to the segment that was the wet blanket segment, where they talked about 1.0 plans to on keeping all new event spots interconnected instancing. So new event spots will definitely be instanced. Be careful making them instanced in lawless based systems. That's one of my things, because you're going to get an uproar. That segment was like, oh shit, and we realized that we only had a 2-hour CitizenCon. I think that was the point where we were like, oh my God, we're almost done. Didn't this time go so fast? Put a 1 if you think that like time has moved amazingly fast. I mean, like, I can't even believe everything's over right now. Like, I feel like it's only been 30 minutes I've been streaming. It's absolutely ridiculous, right, guys? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, come on, like, I don't know what to do with myself. Please give us more CitizenCon. What is going on here? The last thing that they showed, which is, again, it was cool in a way, but it was also a bit underwhelming, was the fact that they got new tactical fleet ops missioning in the PU. And it was interesting, because I thought for a moment it was a separate module, like an arena commander module for organizing a fleet. But in actuality, everybody in chat was letting me know, like, hey, DG, this is actually in the PU, and this is going to be instance. So that's interesting. And it had a Return of the Jedi Lando Millennium Death Star sequence kind of vibe that I liked. I thought that was nice. I think it was pretty interesting to see that. And is primarily designed to giving purpose to ships at this moment that have really no purpose in the PU, right? Because there's not a lot of population around larger areas in space in the MMO right now. Unless people are actually going to hot spots. And I've seen plenty of that around Hathor, by the way. For people that were saying, some in the chat that were like, oh yeah, I feel like my ship doesn't have any purpose, go over to Hathor for a little bit, in its heyday, when there were a lot of people over there, and there was a lot of fleet ops over there. Anytime you're getting some type of an event, there tends to be fleet ops for people that are more organized than others. And if you're wondering if there are no fleet ops in the game, it's probably because you're in an organization that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, or doesn't have the ships that require fleet ops, right? Can I get an amen on that? I think I think a lot of us vets understand that, because this is a game of patience. It takes time. Everything just doesn't happen to you right away. And that's essentially why I love an MMO, because, when those moments happen, they're so much bigger and they're so much more memorable when those things happen. But there does require a level of patience when you're an MMO like this for things to happen, where you actually see fleet ops. I've seen a couple fleet ops. They're usually around event areas. And they're for people that have large organizations or very organized members that know what they're doing, that have access to larger ships. And I've seen them before. So anyhow, I think it's time, guys. I think it's time for the giveaway. What do you guys say? Hold on, Pepe. Can we get the wheel up here? I think it's time to give away our Meteor. There's going to be one lucky member here that's either a YouTube member or... Oh my God, I'm looking at what Pepe, what did you design, dude? You guys got to check out this wheel. What is he doing to me? What is he doing to me? What is this, Pepe? You're showing off my gray beard and my nipple, bro. What is this, dude? This is me in Roman God format. Oh my God, Pepe, that's embarrassing. That's actually my nipple right there. That's my physique. You got my physique going on in there. And then you got my old man gray beard. You got my DeGramps beard up on that shit. Pepe, God damn you, Pepe. All right, we're giving away a Meteor. Can you at least put like some music on here to distract me from my nipple and my gray man beard? Would you stop it? Don't amen that. Pepe, that is embarrassing. I can't even believe you right now. Okay, everybody, listen to me. Listen, we are going to give away the Meteor here. Thank you, St. Eric. Good luck to our YouTube membership. Let's make sure we got everybody on here, and let's get ready to spin the wheel here. We have 65 members and YouTube members and patrons here. Thank you for everybody. But let's hear it for everybody that's supporting the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that supports the show. God bless you. I love you. I couldn't be here. I couldn't have fun with you unless you did this and found a way to buy my freedom. Thank you for buying my freedom that I can be here. And it's very therapeutic, and I love you all for it. Thank you very much. Now, let's spin this Roman God of a DG. But first, what do we need, Pepe? We need some damn exciting music, Pepe. Cue that exciting music. Pepe, turn it down a little bit. Holy shit. Damn, Pepe. Take your foot off the accelerator, would you? Let's go. Let's spin it. Who will win the Meteor? Who will win the Meteor? Oh my God, who's going to win the Meteor? Who's going to win it? 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 Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Phaelorn! The Nip wins as predicted. Phaelorn, congratulations. Thank you, everybody that's involved in supporting the channel. Congratulations to Phaelorn for winning the Meteor with LTI and Disco Lando paint. Congratulations to you, buddy. This is the dude we raised a whole bunch of money for in Louisiana when it flooded. Remember this dude? Phaelorn, congratulations, bro. If anybody deserves this, it's you, bro. You've been through some shit. We actually raised some money for Phaelorn back in the day. Congratulations, Phaelorn, for winning. But don't worry, listen to me. If you're sad you didn't win, if you're sad you didn't, yeah, Jesus. I am so sorry to everybody's eardrums. That was way crazy. Don't worry, by the way. If you're worried you didn't win this in November, what do we got here? Holy smokes, we got ourselves an Apollo Medivac for November. So like I said, I don't understand why there's not more YouTube membership or patrons right now, because like the amount of giveaways that we have been having is just off the hook. St. Eric, thank you. Stunner, thank you. I love everyone here. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for the wonderful day I had today. I'm going to be posting this on YouTube. Make sure you like and share this when you get up there on YouTube. Thank you for showing up today and spending this time with me. Absolutely love you all. Get ready to have more fun next week. Remember, Thursday nights, Star Citizen After Dark at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate all of you that came. We had a really great show today. A lot of people showed up. Thank you so much. Peace out, all. I hope you had fun here on CitizenCon. Get ready for those clickbait CitizenCon videos, and then come back here for fun and positivity and goodness and what's really happening with Star Citizen. That's what we do here. We tell you, we take a step back, we take a breath, we look at the macro. We're adults. We have fun. We laugh. We're here. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one, all. See ya next week. I don't even want to go, Pepe. Pepe, I said I don't even want to go. Damn it, Pepe. Damn it.